in-store and get a free kit of percussion massager with the purchase of any Matrix Fitness equipment or massage chair. That's over $100 value, so mention Seattle Sports. Johnson Fitness and Wellness with stores in Bellevue, Linwood, and Tacoma, or online at johnsonfitness.com.
Welcome to T-Mobile Park, home of your Seattle Mariners.
Timeout. The ballpark is home to more than the Mariners. From Moto Pizza to Marination Musubi, it's got delicious grub to Spariners. Sun-drenched seats and stunning skylines for views that don't compare-iners.
It's a beautiful day out for baseball here at T-Mobile Park.
And sparks ready to fly for Friday nights with Flariners. Oh, and we also have Julio. It's almost not Fariners.
Off the scoreboard, a 3-run jack. What a world to live in with Julio Rodriguez.
Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
The Mariners are back in Seattle on Monday for a 4-game series against the White Sox. All 4 matchups are Mariners value games, which means you can catch Cal Raleigh and the crew for as little as $10. Go to mariners.com/value to secure your seats and check out all the great deals at T-Mobile Park, like value beers, available every game starting at just $4.50.
At Shane Company, we believe everyone deserves a personal jeweler. Whether it's a gemstone expert to show you every shape, size, and color until you find the perfect stone, someone dedicated to helping you find just the right gift in your price range, or our unmatched free lifetime warranty that protects your jewelry for life. At Shane Company, we know jewelry is personal. Come visit us and let us show you around. We go above and beyond to spark joy for all our customers. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Tuesday, June 11th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Seattle Storm tonight are taking on the defending champion Las Vegas Aces. This one's in Vegas. Seattle's on a 5-game win streak. They'll get a big test here from Asia Wilson, though. She's coming off a 36-point game and a win over Dallas on Wednesday. Wilson's averaging 29 per game. Jewel Lloyd leading Seattle in scoring this season. The Mariners are getting a test during a soft spot in the schedule here with a series against the 37-win Kansas City Royals, one of the biggest surprises in baseball this year. This one's in Kansas City, 5:10 p.m. first pitch.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Happy Friday, everyone. Before I even get started, yes, we are going to be starting with talking about the Mariners. Brian Wu is him. Another amazing start from the young pitcher. Curtis.
Yes.
Did you know that Michael Bumpus did not tell us something important?
Really? What was that?
Michael is going to be in a celebrity golf tournament.
Whoa.
And he thought that on a show where the number one rule is
do it for the cloud,
that he could just get away with not saying anything.
E-lister right here. I'm an E-lister.
Bump, which celebrity will you be golfing with?
Hey, I paid to golf with a celebrity.
This is not true at all. Bump was invited to a celebrity golf tournament. Why don't you tell us this? You're being too humble. You're being. You know how much I would talk about this every hour of every day. We are not the same.
No, I guess we're not. But it's my game sucks right now. So
What's wrong with you?
I don't know, man. I'm broken. I was just telling Salk. I am broken right now. The game is not where it needs to be. So I got a week and a half, 2 weeks to kind of get this thing going.
Just think of what you would tell Julio if he was like 0 for 25. You know what I mean? Like just in a little bit of a rut. Like what would you tell a young celebrity about how to get right with his game?
Hey, just don't think about it. Just swing the bat.
Exactly.
Just swing the club. That's what I'm hoping to do.
What are some of the other celebrities that are going to be there?
Matt Barkley was there last year.
Nobody.
Joey Arrington.
Nobody. Just kidding. We
Bo
love Joey.
Nix was there last year.
Who?
Bo
Bo
Nix.
who?
Wow.
Lori Malloy will be there.
It's like Pac-12 greats.
Hecker, the
Johnny
punter, the Hecker will be
Hold
there.
up. There's a punter who's going to be there, and you're not willing to see yourself as a celebrity
he's
who's been invited?
Super Bowl champion punter.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's a legend around these parts, too. He went to Balta High School.
Shout out Bothell.
Yeah, big ups Balta.
Obviously, I'm being a little mean on purpose because I think you should be patting yourself on the back. You are a celebrity, and you've been invited.
Reggie Bush was there last year, but he left early.
He's a celebrity.
Well, I mean, yeah,
left
Reggie's
early.
got more important things to do.
Yeah, he's
he had a
he's gotta
Heisman
go
to go
there.
retrieve.
Exactly. He had to go get that back. Well, I truly believe that your game will get back on track. You've got some beautiful days coming up here. Lots of practice to get in before this thing. Will you promise us one thing? You will allow us to either contact you after the tourney or get some kind of update.
I will give you an update for sure. Whatever you need, I got you.
Fantastic. Well, let's get to what we're actually talking about today. Brian Wu finishes 6 shutout innings yesterday.
Here's the 1-2. Swinging a fly ball into shallow left field. Robles comes charging in. Dylan Moore calling him off. It's the Mariners' third baseman in medium depth left field near the chalk to make the catch for out number 3. And the kid from Alameda High School comes back to Oakland and dominates once again. It has been truly an historic start to the season for Brian Wu, who goes 6 scoreless today inside the Coliseum, his boyhood ballpark, and retires 16 of the final 17 batters faced.
Bump, Brian Wu currently with a 107 ERA, 24 strikeouts, and a sub .55 whip.
Yeah, my guy Wu, I described him as he is officially like one of the guys. You know, when the season started, when we were talking about possibilities, who can get moved around, I think Wu was a name that we brought up. I'm looking at him now, and I go, I'm so glad he is here. He is in the zone. And the only concern I have is that he is leaning on that fastball a lot. I think he threw it like 60-something% of the time.
weird.
I went back and I looked how often he used it against, I guess, better opponents. The Yankees, they couldn't touch him. And also, I believe the other one was against the Royals. They couldn't really get after him either. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And every other pitcher added something to their arsenal during the offseason. Wu just said, nah, I'm throwing that heater, man. But he looks good. He looks confident, and he looks like he belongs.
He absolutely belongs. I can't believe there was ever a point where I thought, well, maybe if Emerson Hancock looks really, really great, they can give Wu some extra time. I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot. Brian Wu, absolutely amazing right now. And I wonder if you think also that it continues to put pressure on a front office to be like, your number 5 guy is dealing.
Yeah.
Your number 5 guy has an ERA just above 1.
Yeah, you got to see the 5th guy doing his thing and imagine the possibilities if you can have consistency in that lineup. Julio once again went 0 for, man. I'm just like shaking my head. I'm like, come on, man, you got to get going. You got Ty France who went 0 for. Cal got on base, but he went 0 for. He walked or whatnot. But, yeah. You see the performances by these arms and the possibilities. I start dreaming of a dominant team making it to the playoffs and contending for a championship because you have good defense. Just need some support. But they're holding it down. And I look at the score. I looked at the game, and I go, that's so us. 3-0. The arms are doing their thing, and your superstars aren't really contributing.
You have your second game in the series where you just get 4 hits or fewer as a team. Let's talk about the offense. There's like 1 or 2 good things. We've been talking about the importance of Garver. It would be talking about Polanco if he weren't hurt, but of your new additions contributing. I will give Mitch Garver that at least he went 2 for 2. He was able to get a home run. nothing's fixed, but if one thing that we're going to be tracking is contributions from new additions, that's at least a plus from this.
Isn't it weird? It's like every time we talk about somebody, they happen to go out there and do their thing.
I know.
Yesterday we were talking about Polanco and Mitch for a little bit and saying, all right, man, you got to figure this thing out. And he goes out there, has 2 RBIs, he has a bomb, he gets on base twice, he walks twice. So good for him, man. The numbers aren't great right now with Mitch, but these are the things that you need. That bottom of the lineup last year when they went on that run was balling. So if the top ain't getting it done, the bottom, you go ahead and contribute.
Wu had lots of great things to say about his game.
Honestly, I think coming home, you got to focus a little bit more, I think, just because, you're seeing family, you're seeing friends, you look up in the stands, you see, a lot of familiar faces. So I think sometimes it can actually throw you off a little bit. So I think it's actually, you got to lock in a little bit more and be a little bit more more focused than normal. But no, I don't think it's anything in particular. I think it's just, like I said, continue to do the little things.
From Alex Mayer, Brian Wu is the only Oakland-born pitcher with a scoreless start at the Oakland Coliseum at age 24 or younger. He has 2 of those right now.
Good for Wu, man. I used to like going back to Cali and playing in front of families and friends, going to USC and then UCLA at the Rose Bowl. But he's right. You do have to focus a little bit more because a lot of people want your time. They want to meet you in the lobby before the game. They want to take you out to dinner and lunch. So for him to lock it in and just do what he does, man, it's special. But we expect this from him now, right? When's the last time we had one of our starters just blow up? Do you remember?
It would have been, I know Logan had a not so great game. Kirby and Castillo have all had like maybe 1 or 2 of those, but not.
Just doesn't happen
Not
often.
really.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Not where you're not like, it's just maybe not his day and he gets pulled and then it's done and you don't worry about it. Like, when they do, when they allow maybe 5 runs, I don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's all good. My only concern with Wu is I want to see a bit more because the scouting report is going to be out on him and they're going to start jumping on those fastballs. Good teams, man, they look for those fastballs. Those are the ones they usually take yard. But if they can't touch it, go ahead and keep throwing it. But there's going to be a time where he's going to have to switch it up a little bit.
What was it like facing him? Here's what the A's manager had to say.
I mean, we just couldn't hit the heater. And, I don't know what it is about his fastball that gives us trouble, but, he basically just throws 4-seam, 2-seam and played it off that, plate today with, success. And I mean, that's kind of the tall tale of the story today. We just could not hit the fastball. And we had an opportunity to take advantage of their mistake in the first. We got a situational at bat that we failed in, and really that was the only opportunity we had all day.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said, Bump. He basically throws 2-seamer, 4-seamer. If they can't hit it, it's great. Everything's sticking. It looks amazing, and he's getting these clean innings. You do, though, naturally start to wonder, well, how often are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah, and I think Cal has a good grasp on that kind of stuff, right? Cal, one of the best catchers in the game. He's the one out there calling the pitches. I'm sure they go into the game what they plan and say, look, this is how we're going to attack this lineup with these batters, especially when you're facing the A's, who are bottom of the league when it comes to swinging the sticks. So you can be a bit more aggressive. So going into this series, I don't think Wu's going to see the Royals, but when he does come back around, let's see what he faces and see if he mixes things up. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, if no one is touching that, go ahead and keep throwing it, throw it hard, throw it with confidence.
I'll say what I absolutely do not want to see in this series against the Royals, a significantly better offense and a team with 1 more win than your Seattle Mariners have, which is wasting starting pitching. If we see in this series your arms give up 3 or fewer runs, 2 or fewer runs, and your offense can't get it, you should make a trade before the trade deadline.
Yeah, that's my thing. Do you have to wait until July 30th?
You do not.
Do you have to wait till the 29th? If you see something that needs to be fixed and there are opportunities to get better at it, go ahead and do it. I don't understand. Well, I do understand because people want to wait and kind of see what other teams do, who's going to be available, who's interested. But at this point, I think if you are the Mariners, you should be as aggressive as possible in this moment because you have a lead in the division. Your arms are balling. You just need more help.
It's just so frustrating to see over and over again. And there's this weird, I was talking with Mike about it this morning. He was like, I felt like fans, this is Mike's take. He was like, I felt like fans were angrier last season, even though the offense is worse this year. And I was like, trust that me and Bump see plenty of anger on the text line from listeners. But it's hard when you're in first place. So instead, what's happening is that fans, I think many fans are of 2 minds. You'll see a game like this where Brian Wu is dealing. You're shutting out a bad team. You look at 4 hits. You look at, 0 for 4, like you said, for Julio. 1 for, God, I don't even know how many for your top, 6 hitters. And you go, well, how much can I complain? It's that's the only thing stopping people. If this team was not in first place, if this team was at a 500 club, there would be plenty of complaining because they are first in strikeouts, they are 30th in doubles, they are 26 in OPS and runs, and it's not good.
This is like, Stacey, you ready for this golf analogy?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Because I know you're going to understand it completely.
Okay, probably. I mean, when I ask you if you scored 80 out of 100.
It's like you're at a par 5. That's the longest hole in the course, right? Typically around 500 yards. And you go out there and your drive is beautiful. Boom, right down the middle, about 275, 280. And you got to get on in 3 shots. That's on in regulation. In par 5, get on the green in 3 shots. Your second shot, you push it to the right a bit. Now you're in the rough. Not a bad shot, but not great. Your third shot, you skull that thing, it rolls onto the green, and then you have a long 2-putt, 20-foot 2-putt, and you still par. It's like, it's a par, but I don't like the way I got here. That's who the Mariners are right now.
I wish you guys could see how I'm looking at them. I'm just nodding along yes.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. Good answer. Good answer. That's exactly how it is. I think I get what you're saying. I think I'm putting up what you're putting down, which is, look, eventually you did it, but you don't feel like you can replicate any of that. Not only that, but you would have preferred to do it a different way.
Exactly.
It's just, I would have preferred that in a shutout win over the A's, the Mariners, have more than 4 hits. Even if they leave runners stranded, I'd be okay with more guys left on base. I'd be okay with some other things that are frustrating with more strikeouts. I mean, it's not like they struck out 12 times. I'd be okay with more strikeouts if it meant, maybe 2-3 home runs instead of just the one from Garver. I can take some of the frustrating things with the offense if it comes with some production.
Yeah, that's can we be choosers? Can beggars be choosers right now? Because we are holding on to this right now. We're holding on to this lead. You're winning ball games, you're winning series, but you just don't like the way that you're doing it because you fear that it's going to bite you in the rear end later on in the season. We'll see how it looks like with this series with the Kansas City Royals. I think this is a big one. This is the most interested I've been in a series, I would say, since the Yankees. Obviously, I'm interested in all of them because
I hear you.
We like our Mariners. But when you went to the Bronx, we're like, okay, hang with the big boys. What's up? And you split there, and then you stumble against Washington. But this one, I'm thinking, okay, all right, can you ride this wave and this momentum? Can these bats get going? Because we know what Kansas City possesses over there. They're a good ball club. So I'm excited to see just how they respond to this.
Well, there's so many interesting storylines here. Like you mentioned Julio 0 for 4, and you said, God, I'd just love to see him get going. You've got Bobby Witt Jr. in this series for Kansas City. You naturally compare these two against each other. So there's all these layers in this series. It's also the only series in this stretch of 4 against the Angels, against Oakland, against the Royals and White Sox, where you can really read a lot into it. What are you going to take if you sweep the White Sox, the worst team in baseball? What do you take from that?
Yeah, you take it as, you know what, that's the B team, and you beat the B team. Whenever my kids play the B or the C team and their team goes out and balls out, I go, okay, you did what you're supposed to do. Good job. Good job handling business. Win the ones that people don't expect you to win. So you got the Royals coming up and then the White Sox for 4 games, and then you got Texas and Cleveland. I know you're not supposed to look ahead, but that is what we do here on the Bump and Stacey show from time to time.
Look ahead.
Because, we like to anticipate things. We like to try to predict the future and set some expectation. And that's a fun thing, though, to have expectations for this team, to look at a series like the Royals and say, all right, this is a good team. You can beat this team. To look at a team like the Sox and say, White Sox and say, you should beat that team. And then get to the Texans and the Guardians and say, all right, now let's get down to the nitty gritty. So expectations, it's a privilege.
I'm going to dig into headline rewrites just a tiny bit because I want to get back to one thing you said when you were talking about holding those two thoughts simultaneously of, I want my team to be better, but I'm grateful they're in first place. You said, well, I mean, is this a can beggars be choosers moment? And I thought, I kind of paused on that because I thought, yeah, you're right. Should I be grateful? This is a club that hasn't been in first place this early in the season, or 5 games in first place this early in the season since 2003. That was 21 years ago. Wow. Beyonce and Jay-Z weren't even married. They had just released Bonnie and Clyde. You know what I mean? It has been a time since the Mariners had a 5-game lead in the AL West this time of the year in early June. However, I don't think the Mariners are beggars. And I don't think they should be, and I don't think it's how fans can see it. At the time, it was just an analogy we were using very quickly, but it made me think, like, if the A's were in second, that's a beggars can't be choosers moment.
Yeah.
See, your ownership has no intention of winning. Your club is not focused in any way on short-term progress. They're focused on going to Vegas and doing whatever. The Mariners have a great farm system. You don't have a ton of money to spend, but you have the ability to wheel and deal. And the expectation is not just that you get to the playoffs, but that you have success in the playoffs. I absolutely think you can be choosers. I think that you can demand more.
So you made me do something.
Yeah.
You said 2003.
Yeah.
Crazy in Love was hot. 21 Questions by 50 Cent was hot.
Oh, God.
And
Featuring
Stacey's
Nate Dogg.
mom
Oh,
was
God.
on the
no.
billboards. Let's go.
You want to know what song has been sung to me by one
yeah.
person or another for
sure.
like every single moment of my life? Does your mom have it going on? Yeah,
It's original.
she does. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Yeah, don't talk about Joe like that.
Yeah, how dare you?
Savages.
Jeez.
Headline
calm
number
down.
one. The Seahawks are adding another quarterback to the mix. NFL Network reports they're signing veteran P.J. Walker. What's the real headline?
Seahawks add injury insurance and a preseason arm. That is the real headline because that is how I see it. Bump, how about you?
Yeah, there's something called a camp arm, and that's exactly what PJ is. He's insurance. He's there, so when you do get into the preseason and Geno takes the seat and Sam Howell is done, PJ Walker going to get about 50 to 60 snaps towards the end of that thing. But good for PJ, too. What this does for PJ, that allows him to get more film out there. Somebody's going to pick him up. He's in a camp. He started one game last year for the Browns. We looked at, Curtis, I believe, and it was against the Seattle Seahawks. Had 2 interceptions, killed it in the XFL when he was out there. He is a lifetime backup in the NFL. You bring these guys in every single year.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, the Celtics dominated Game 1 of the NBA Finals, blowing out the Mavericks 107-89 to take a 1-0 series lead. What's the real headline?
Yeah, we can safely say Porzingis won't need a ramp-up period.
Nah, my man came off the bench and dropped 20 of them things. And when the Celtics have 5 starters in double figures, you got Jaylen Brown, who led the way with 22 points. You got White with 15, Holiday with 15, Horford with 10, and then Tatum with 16. Didn't even have his best game. You're going to need an all-star performance by the Dallas Mavericks. And you got that from Luka, man. He had 30 points, but Irving got to get going. 12 ain't going to be good enough. You need help. Irving and Doncic have to play their best series of all time to beat this Boston Celtics team. They are deep. I don't like it.
I mean, Luka was decent. He didn't have the assists that you're used to seeing, but did okay otherwise. There was a brief period of time, I want to say in the third, where like Dallas narrowed the lead to like 12. And I thought maybe. Like that's how dominant the Celtics were early, where I thought, well, maybe the Mavs will do it. Maybe they'll surprise. But this is kind of the dominance I envision might happen from the Celtics, and you know more than I do. You've been following it more closely, but it's why, while I regret to inform you, I went with the Celtics winning this series. I took them, I think, in 6 because
that was a smart pick.
It's this kind of dominance. Well, it's also not an unpopular pick. It's not a unique pick. It's the Celtics are highly favored for exactly this reason.
They are overall the better team. They should win this, but they're not because Boston is whack. Sorry, Dooley.
Shoes,
Headline
whack. Girls, whack. Your smile, whack.
His stance, whack.
Headline number 3, UConn head coach Dan Hurley is reportedly in L.A. today interviewing for that Lakers job. What's the real headline?
Hurley reiterated to his UConn team that it's still just business as usual, guys.
Come on, man. It
Nothing
is
to see
business. It is
Yeah.
business. You're in L.A., and you're meeting with the powers that be to hopefully take over. It's between him and J.J. Redick, it sounds like. I prefer Dan Hurley, but if J.J. gets it, so be it. Whoever gets the job is like an assistant head coach to LeBron anyway. But I think Hurley is more qualified, obviously, with all the success he's had at UConn. We'll see what happens. I didn't know that was J.J.'s first NBA Finals calling with Doris Burke. So he had 2 first times.
Yeah,
the
that's
first
very cool.
woman to call NBA Finals game, and then J.J. got his first 2.
Dan Hurley said earlier this week.
I do aspire, one day if the right NBA situation were to come along, I do aspire to
Really,
really
that's
testing
nice
myself.
to know. Really, okay. You'd like to take a shot at the NBA.
I mean, if the right situation where
Right.
you know an organization wants a tone setter to come in and you know instill a culture, you know, young players and an organization that wants to pursue championships.
Would it have to be in the Northeast with your wife, or would she? Because I don't know if she'd go all over the country, would she?
She's the boss.
Now, it's a fun clip. The key part here is him saying, I do aspire to be an NBA head coach one day. That was from earlier this week. Bump, there's an interesting topic that comes up for discussion, as Curtis pointed out, every time a collegiate level coach heads to the pros, which is people wondering, what's wrong with college? Is this because of NILs? Is it because of whatever? I can see the case sometimes, but it feels like that's not the case when it comes to an opening for a pro level head coaching gig.
For the Lakers. Like,
For
this
the
ain't
Lakers.
just a regular gig. He turned down Duke, right? He was his name was connected to Duke for a little bit. Here's the funny part. His wife said when he won the championship with UConn, everyone stopped calling him, we're not leaving the Northeast. I bet she going to Cali, though. I bet she ain't mad at LA.
1,000%. It should have been for Detroit. Fill in the blank with somewhere else, except for when it comes to going to a really nice giant city. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Coming up, finding the why in the Seahawks reported signing of quarterback PJ Walker.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run. You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open.
Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We're seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Get in zone, AutoZone. What do you do about car trouble? Call Dad? Why not give him a break this Father's Day and visit AutoZone instead? If it's a battery problem, AutoZone has free battery testing and charging, and battery options as low as $89.99. And right now, you can save at the AutoZone Father's Day sale through June 16th. Give Dad a break and maybe get him something too at AutoZone. Get in zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450e has the performance and range to get you where you need to go with the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings up to $17,000 lease cash on every RZ450e. Visit lexusofbellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS, lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by July 1st, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
The Mariners are all about giving you more baseball for your buck. Snag seats for as little as $10 on select dates all season long with Mariners Value Games. Plus, be sure to check out the Mariners Value Menu, available at every game and featuring 11 items priced from $2.50 to $4. Enjoy ballpark classics like hot dogs and peanuts, new treats like churros and chocolate chip cookies, and more. To get your value game tickets and check out all the value options at T-Mobile Park, go to mariners.com/value.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Give props to Jerry and Justin. They did a great job bringing in these good group of guys.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
To me, the LJ way is to provide an experience that people really enjoy being a part of. And they enjoy being a part of it because they're getting great service. They're talking with somebody that actually they feel cares about them. They care about what their impression is going to be walking away. It's also understanding you're now part of our family, and thank you for doing the business with us. And this is how we're going to show our appreciation through customer service. We're going to show our appreciation with taking care of you if you ever have an issue. Majority of the people that are coming to see us are within our community. These are people who are providing maybe services that we also use in our community. So the LJ way, to me, somebody can come into a retail setting and not feel like they got to have their guard up. And that's been a long-standing thing in the car business that, we've tried to shake.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
For over 111 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington. From the Space Needle in Seattle and now all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist you with any lighting issue, as well as help with intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting expert since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We are not talking about the Mariners right now, but we will coming up in about 15 minutes. If you were Scott Service, what would you do with this lineup? Text in your answer, 866-979-3776. Now, Bump and I are asking because we know that you guys want to sound off about how to fix the lineup, what you want to see from the lineup, what frustrates you. Maybe your answer is, I think Service is doing a great job and I wouldn't do anything. Maybe your answer is you'd send someone down. Whatever it is, I don't know. There is enough kind of reaction as to like, I would do this, that Bump and I are genuinely curious. 866-979-3776. Text in, if you were Scott Service, what would you do to this lineup? Coming up at 10:45 right now, finding the why. In the Seahawks reported signing of quarterback P.J. Walker, Bump, everyone's eyes light up when a team adds a quarterback, but what do you think this one actually means?
I don't mean much, man. I'm looking at PJ. In 2020, he played in 4 games. 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions. 2021, played in 5 games, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. In 2022, he played in 6 games, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And last year for the Browns, he played in 6 games, 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions. Mm-hmm. Not impressive. You know what's messed up is that I automatically stereotype PJ. You know what I said? He must be mobile. He must have hella rushing yards.
Michael Bumpus.
Nah, he got 80. 80 total rushing yards.
Wow, dude.
I'm sorry.
It's 2024.
Not cool, bro.
Not cool
Not
at all.
cool.
I apologize, man. I didn't mean to put you in that box. You're a quarterback.
Not every black quarterback can run for a bajillion yards a game.
You know, I might take his card, though. You better get moving, PJ. You know, you running, baby. But no, this just means that there's insurance. If something happens in camp, if Sam Howell's arm is sore, if Geno's arm is sore, you got 2 quarterbacks there who can get it done. When you get into the preseason, when Geno gets his 1 game or his half a game and he sits, you got a guy who can get the bulk of the reps. And like I mentioned in the open, this is good for PJ. He's only played in 21 games, but obviously there's value to him in this league or he would not be around right now. So what he's going to do is he's going to go out there and try to play his best football with the 2s and the 3s, and hopefully someone's going to pick him up. And I'm pretty sure he'll be on someone's roster, but this is just insurance. I remember when I was with the Hawks, they brought in Jeff Rowe, I believe his name was, from Nevada. We used to call him Death Row. And he used
Great
to,
nickname.
and right, it was awesome. He's a big boy too. He was like 6'4", 6'5", and he would joke around. He knew. He goes, "Man, I'm just here to get film. I'm not going to play over any of these dudes. You got to be in the right mindset." And I think PJ's been around long enough that he knows who he is and where he stands on this ball club. And he's just trying to get some film.
What do you think of the Seahawks' current quarterback situation? And by that bump, I don't necessarily mean like, who do you think will start or who do you think will look good? Because I can guess your answer. What I mean is how people interpret it. What do you think about the way people see it and why?
See, just the quarterback position here?
Yeah, like I know that you and I are sitting here going, hey, guys, P.J. Walker's being signed as a camp arm and for injury insurance and, because he's kind of an interesting backup option. I can promise you there are some people going, well, what if he's solid? What if he could start? Like, that have a frustration with Geno. There are a lot of people who believe in Sam. There are people who believe in Geno. It's just there's no consensus.
I think people look at the quarterback situation here and they say, we'll see. Because Geno's only put together really 2 solid years in the NFL. And Sam Howell has 1 year as a starter where he threw a whole bunch of picks, threw the ball 600 times, though. He wasn't set up for success. So I think they look at the quarterback position and say, Geno is the guy, but I think some people are hoping that Sam Howell beats him out or applies some type of pressure. Maybe Sam Howell is the future. Maybe Geno doesn't have a great year, which I think he'll be fine. But if he does not have a great year, you have a guy in Sam Howell who is ready to go, I think, or is still developing. It's young in his career to where you can take some chances on him. This is it's a weird position to be in because Geno has shown that he can be one of the best in the game. I mean, he completed almost 70% of his passes a couple of years ago, threw for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. I saw Bleacher Report had his projections at 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, and around 10 or 11 interceptions. That's a good year. That's a slightly above average quarterback in the league. And I think that's all Geno needs to be, honestly. If the defense does what I think it's going to do, and if you stay healthy on offense, Geno don't need to be a world beater. He don't need to be the best QB in the game. He needs to be the best Geno. And I think the best Geno is around 4,000 yards, 25 to 30 touchdowns that limit the picks.
Can I say my hot and kind of like patronizing or offensive take?
Let's do it.
I think that some people are honest about the options that are available to them this year. I see so many responses saying a version of, quote, I don't think Geno's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time I respond and I say, well, what do you think is, or what would you do? And they say, start Sam, try someone else, just try it. What's the harm in trying it? And my thought is always like, I don't have to think Geno is, quote, the answer to know that he might be your only answer for this year. And those are two different things. Geno being your best answer and Geno being the savior to take you to a Super Bowl are two different things.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes as fans, we look at an option, we go, that's just not really what I envisioned. It's not what I envisioned for this team. I want something else. And then we forget that other thing isn't available right now. Where is Patrick Mahomes?
Because everybody wants Pat.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody wants Josh.
Tell me where that guy is. Is Joe Burrow? Is he your number 3 quarterback? And I think maybe because this team has this interesting background of having Russell Wilson as a 3rd-round pick who gets the start over your big price free agent, there's this natural inclination to go, well, you never know what you have. But sometimes you do.
And I think we can look at that in a positive way, too, because I think some people might be looking at the roster and saying, man, if you had a superstar quarterback, you are for sure contending at least for a conference championship. But this Geno is who you have. And Geno is better than a lot of quarterbacks out there. I will take him over Baker Mayfield. I will take him over Derek Carr. I will take him over Gardner Minshew, go Cougs. I will take him over Bryce Young. I will take him over Justin Fields. I will take him over Russell Wilson at this point, honestly. So is he the top tier? No. Pat Mahomes is in a tier all by himself. But I think people look at Geno and then they look at this roster and they say, only if you had this type of quarterback, the possibilities. And I'm going to go back to the story that everyone talks about. Brock Purdy is not the most talented quarterback out there, but he runs the heck out of the system. So what if Geno grasps the heck out of this system and does something we haven't seen? And that's what keeps me optimistic about Geno is that this is a new offense for him. This is a new situation for him. He doesn't have the starts that a Dak Prescott has, a Jared Goff has, a Pat Mahomes has. He doesn't have that, so there's still room for him to develop. The age is what kind of makes people kind of pigeonhole him a little bit because they think they've seen everything out of Geno. I'm not a believer in that. After this year, I think I'll have a stronger opinion on whether he's done or not as far as development. But no, I think he's still got some room to grow, and you got a new situation here.
Can I also say one other thing? I think that we tend to compare quarterbacks based on really surface-level things, for instance. I don't mean to call this texter out. 206, I appreciate you listening. Shout out to you for texting in and putting your opinion out there. I am going to disagree with it, but it's for a reason. The 206 says Brock Purdy and Sam Howell are the same. Like, I see a lot of Brock Purdy, whatever. And then I said, well, what do you see with these two quarterbacks being similar? Because I actually think they're very different. I think Sam Howell looks for very explosive plays and tries to look outside the pocket, whereas Brock Purdy plays a much more shallow game and doesn't have the same arm strength. And they said, well, I see some Baker Mayfield too. Bump. I think sometimes what happens is the very, very surface level comparison is, I don't want to say it's like being a white quarterback, but maybe it's being an unexpected quarterback. Sam Howell, a 5th-round pick. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. The idea of finding someone young and cheap in an unexpected place, and then we make these very surface-level comparisons. I think if Sam Howell's thrown out there in this game because Geno's benched or because Geno's injured, I'm going to be rooting so hard for Sam Howell, and I cannot wait to talk about his potential. And this isn't me being Team Geno by any means. What this is me being Team Stability.
Right.
Team stability. And I don't want to make a rash decision because I look at what another team has and say, oh, I think that we have that too because they're both, I don't know what kind of comparison you see. But
yeah, I don't honestly. I see Sam Howell, Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy as 3 different quarterbacks. I see Brock Purdy as the efficient, I'm going to run this company type of guy. I see Baker Mayfield as a salesman who's going to get hot one month and then the next month he's not going to meet his quota. I see Sam Howell as the entry-level type of quarterback is still trying to prove himself. I think they're completely different quarterbacks. The one thing they all have in common, they can throw the rock. You got to be able to throw the football. So, I mean, yeah, I think they're different. I think you look at some tone, some skin tone, and you might try to lump them in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I don't think it's intentional. It's the exact same thing. Look, when Russell Wilson was first starting out, people were like, Russell Wilson, RG3 and Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick. Those 3 quarterbacks have very different skill sets.
Yeah.
Very different skill sets. RG3 was a significantly better runner than Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Like, not particularly close. Russ could scramble. Russ was elusive. He would suddenly disappear in the pocket and then reappear on the sideline and throw this. It was amazing. Very different quarterbacks. But, like, we do make, in general, we, NFL viewers, these, like, surface-level comparisons. I would just hesitate doing that with
I think it's natural. It's natural.
It is natural. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I think it's something literally everyone
We're always
does.
looking to compare. That's why everyone's looking to find Pat Mahomes. Everyone's looking to find Josh.
Yep.
So when you have something that's similar, you automatically want to put them there.
And when someone says, Stacey, you forget, do we want to be drafting mid to low 20s again, never getting better? Geno's not the answer. I said, who's the answer? I don't know. We won't know if we don't try. You're 1,000% right.
Try what?
But
try Sam Howell?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. You're absolutely right. You never know if you don't try. But there is a risk in trying Sam Howell. Sam Howell doesn't work, and then what? And then what? You can't go back to your starter after you benched him.
Geno's
with that
already
same
done more than
confidence.
what Sam Howell's done. So
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
you have to handle this situation so carefully.
Yeah.
And that's my only caution. If you were Scott Service, what would you do to this lineup? Now, I'm sure Scott Service, main listener of Bump and Stacey, I'm sure, would be listening going, oh, very curious to know what all of you would do as manager of this team. It must be so easy, but we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. How do you spark an offense that desperately needs it? 866-979-3776. Text now.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
He is John Morosi.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
You were saying there's definitely a sense of urgency at the trade deadline.
If Pete Alonso is there and available, you probably make that move. I agree with you that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is probably unlikely, but a Christian Walker with the D-backs, those types of names are going to be out there and available, maybe even a Lamont Wade Jr. with the Giants. I like the way this team is trending, and I still believe their best offensive days are ahead.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
With King LASIK, you can ditch the glasses and contacts and get LASIK from the Northwest's most experienced team. King LASIK has performed over 250,000 procedures, and this month saved $1,000. Start with a free Zoom consult at kinglasik.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is Seahawks Game Day host G. Scott. The 2024 season is here. This team has it all. Young talent, proven vets, and swagger. Secure your seats now at Seahawks.com/tickets. Let's bring it, 12s.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to talk to you about baseball. It's game day. The stadium roof is open. Our club's putting up a fight. They're cold brews in hand. But outside, the police are getting ready to spot fans trying to steal their home base. Maybe the night threw you a curveball. An officer made an error. Or perhaps the bases weren't the only thing loaded. At 1-800-DUI-AWAY, we know it's not 3 strikes, it's 1 strike. And you're facing the Grand Slammer. 1-800-DUI-AWAY is here to help, even if we have to go into overtime. So call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com to set up your free private consultation. When you're on defense, it's full count, bottom of the ninth. You want your closing pitcher on the mound. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY! The IRS deadline has come and gone. So do you owe money to the IRS? If so, you need an ally. Whether you owe the IRS $6,000 or $600,000, whether your tax problems are personal or business, the professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to step in and negotiate your fresh start with the IRS. Here's a happy customer of Allies Tax Relief.
Before calling Allies Tax Relief, I feared the IRS would take all of my assets. I owed them over $562,000. Thankfully, I was referred to Allies and called them for help. They ultimately saved my life from uncertainty. Allies negotiated my giant tax debt to an unbelievable $1,500. They are professionals and they fight the fight for their clients.
Allies Tax Relief will protect your assets from being seized and your paycheck from being garnished. Call right now for your free consultation. 800-296-0772. That's 800-296-0772. Or visit AlliesTaxRelief.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on SeattleSports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at SeattleSports.com.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or ceiling paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Are you tired of losing weight just to see it all come back again? Summer is around the corner and you want to look and feel like yourself again, but getting back on that frustrating weight loss roller coaster is the last thing you want to do. You've heard about the new drugs but are concerned with the possible side effects, or you're taking weight loss drugs but also want to learn how to change your lifestyle for long-lasting results. At Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, we know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle strategies. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Losing the weight is great, but maybe the best part of this program is the sustainability, what comes afterwards, because it doesn't really matter how much weight you lost if you're not able to keep it off, and Eastside's program is fantastic.
Our program has successfully helped thousands of people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in 60 days. You can start our program in person in Kirkland or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation today by calling 425-522-5070 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
If you were Scott Service, what would you do to this lineup? Now, you can answer that like big picture. You could answer it just for today, just for this series against Kansas City. What would you do to give a bit of a boost to an offense that's really struggling? Now, the reason we ask is it is so easy to play with house money. It is so easy to be like, Service needs to fix it. And it's much harder to say, okay, well, what would you do? Well, wait a minute. I guess I don't know. I mean, so we wanted to get a little creative here, figure out what people think should be done, what they think could help. 866-979-3776. Text in your answers to the Mac and Jack's text line. Bump, I got a couple here, so let's roll through them. Someone said, if I was Scott, this is a really popular answer, is moving Julio back in the lineup. Mm-hmm. I'm taking Julio, who's basically been getting ground ball singles. Last double was May 2nd, and he's hitting 6 or 7 until he's actually back. Also, I'm sending Canzone down to Tacoma.
Oh, man. The thing about Canzone is that defensively, he is awesome. I mean, you probably put Mitch out there, but Canzone defensively has value to me. As far as moving Julio around, I'm all for it. I think you try whatever you can with Julio. He seems to respond when he is moved around in the lineup a little bit, but he'll respond and then kind of fade away a bit. He's only batting, 266 OPS and 658. Not great numbers. We're looking at his numbers from previous years, Stacey, and for him to duplicate what he's done the past couple of years, he's going to have to get hot soon. So I think he's bought himself a little more time, in my opinion, because I feel like there is a date in there somewhere, maybe mid-June, to where you're like, all right, if you're not moving by now, now we have to do something. But I wouldn't mess too much with that young mind. I mean, he's only 22, 23 years old. So there has to be consequences for him not producing, but I wouldn't shake him up too much quite yet. I think there's still some time for him to switch things up.
I do like this listener's response, which you and I talked about off air. Not this response, but you and I were looking at just averages. Julio has the best average, says the 425. So, yeah, let's have 5 or 6 batters who are hitting a lot worse bat before. There's this really interesting conversation to be had about Julio, which is performance and disappointment meets kind of the reasoning for that. Only Josh Rojas has a higher average of like regular contributors on this team. Julio's hitting 266. He was hitting 270 entering this series. Obviously went 0 for 4 yesterday. Like, it feels to a lot of people, and I totally get it too, like Julio's underperforming, and he is. But it's for what Julio can be.
Yeah.
Julio is right now, on paper, as far as averages go, which I know is a very simplistic stat, your second best hitter.
Mm-hmm. I get all these other analytics, right? But average is average, man. I mean, I know people like, oh, what about this, that, and the third? I go, okay, man, whatever the chances of him getting a hit, I look right to the average. If you look at Julio's average, he is better than the average baseball player in MLB. But you're not paying him to be that. That's the problem right there. People look at that ticket that he's getting paid or that check he gets, and they're saying, you need to produce more. And I understand that, and I think he understands that. He believes that, and Service believes that as well. But you have to be – guys like Julio are coached and maneuver a bit differently than a Canzone or a Rojas because of the potential that he has in that 6'3" frame. if he were someone else that if he were not Julio Rodriguez, I don't think we're even talking about his performance right now. We're thinking, all right, you're getting a little production out of Julio Rodriguez, but because he is who he is and he's getting paid what he's getting paid, you expect more, and that's natural. It's supposed to be like that.
Yep.
I'm just not ready to shake it up completely with Julio.
Now we have an interesting answer from another listener who says, well, first place Mariners don't desperately need anything. His answer is, I don't think Scott needs to do much of anything. They're in first place.
So I think this is what that listener is. He's looking at a 400-meter race, and you've gotten out the gates on the competition, but you're in a weaker heat. You're in like the second or third heat. You're not in the first heat with all these ballers in it, right? You're in the second or third heat, and you've gotten out to a good start, and you're just cruising right now. But there's a kid in lane 3 or lane 4 who is dipping right now, and he might catch you. I'm not comfortable maneuvering like that. I'm not comfortable running that race. Apparently this texter is, and that's good for you, but this is a long season, and you got to find another kick. And where do you find that kick? It has to come from Julio, and it's got to come from someone else.
A surprising number of trade things in here, and I need to remind people that Scott Service is not wheeling and dealing. We're talking lineup stuff. We're talking player management. Get those answers in 866-979-3776. Tyler in the 208 says, how about once a lineup clicks, just keep it consistent?
All right, when did it click? When's the last time we felt like this lineup really clicked?
Or maybe even a part of it?
Yeah.
Maybe that Saturday game against the Angels when they scored 9.
All right, let's see what that lineup looked like that day.
Because I don't think they've gone double digits once this season. I think 9 is
in runs.
Yeah,
I thought they've gotten 10.
Yes, they did against the Twins.
Yeah,
when Cal hit that pinch hit grand slam.
So
I think that's the only time.
That Saturday that you first brought up, Curtis, we had JP, Demo, Rodriguez, Canzone, Cal, Franz, Haniger, Garver, Rayleigh. So 1 through 4, and that's when Demo was hot too. When this team is playing at its best this year, Demo is playing some good baseball. It seems like he's the X factor to this whole thing. And on that day, Rodriguez went 3 for 4. So he was batting in the 3 spot. Where did he bat yesterday? You remember? Or was he?
Was he 3?
Yeah, he was 3rd.
3 spot. I mean, goodness gracious. Well, I was against Angels, so we'll see.
From the 206, first place Mariners getting chased by whom?
By the Astros. The Astros are the dudes who come out, slow out the gates, and will kick at the end of the year and catch you. Will they? I mean, they're gonna apply some pressure somehow. I'm still believing that the Astros got something left in them. But I'm not. Here's the thing: we want to win the division, but during the chase to win the division, you want to slowly catch other teams as well. Yesterday I said, or a couple days ago, I said, look, just focus on the division, win the division, you'll be fine. Yeah, let's do that. But in the meantime, you want to catch some other teams and position yourself to be a dominant team once you get into the playoffs, if you get into the playoffs. So it's hard, man, because you want to stay focused on the short-term goal, but you also want to, knock down some checkpoints along the way.
I look at what the Mariners are doing offensively and whether or not it's sustainable as being whether or not you can find success with a bad habit. I have many bad habits. I procrastinate. I had an article that I meant to finish last night. I got distracted. I finished it early in the morning, and I turned it in. And so you think to yourself, well, I got it done before I was on air, and I sent it in. And it's easy to let yourself think you can do that all the time. Mm-hmm. What's actually better for you is to get your work done. Think of it like homework. I didn't study for a test, and then I crammed the night before, pulled an all-nighter, and I got a 4.0. Great. You are in no way guaranteed to get a 4.0 every single time you decide not to study for a test. That might be something you were good at that day. It might be an easy test. Maybe you lucked out. Maybe you had extra caffeine. Maybe something happened that day. But overwhelmingly, it is better to be prepared. It is better to study. It is better to get your stuff done. And good habits tend to result in good things. The Mariners don't have good habits right now. And they've so far been acing their tests. So far, they've been passing classes.
I went acing. They get some B's.
But getting some work done. And so it's easy to think, I can keep slacking off and I can keep procrastinating and I can keep doing whatever because I'm in first. But truly, you are going to eventually run into something that you can't handle because you're not prepared. And that's how I see the Mariners offense. You cannot win a World Series when you're 26 in OPS, 26 in runs, and you're striking out more than any other team. You can't.
Yeah.
You could have 5 Felixes in your rotation, and it's not happening.
Yeah, I love that. That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Love it.
I really need to get my work done sooner. I just got so distracted. I had to catch up with Top Chef, and there was the Summer House reunion part 1.
What
Lindsay
don't you
and
watch?
Carl.
You watch Top Chef too?
I watch the entire Bravo lineup outside of Below Deck.
You don't watch Below Deck?
No.
That's where you draw the line.
I just couldn't get into it. I have tried
Why the
on
bridge too
multiple.
far?
I have tried so many times to get into Below Deck, but I otherwise watch. I would say I watch 90% of reality television shows that exist. All right, Seahawks.com's John Boyle joining us next. We'll talk about what's standing out from OTAs. Don't go anywhere.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Leaps up and he makes the catch.
With voices like Ryan Roland Smith, Gary Hill, and Mike Blowers.
Long-term pitching, if you have that foundation, good things are going to happen.
It makes him so valuable when he's hitting.
This team is a team that's going to have to bunch hits together, put pressure on the defense.
Hear from the players and coaches, and go behind the scenes with insiders Shannon Dreyer.
They find a way to grind it out, stay in the game. I thought it was a really good win for them.
The Dugout, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here, and I want to introduce you to something that was new to me and probably new to a lot of homeowners out there, a metal roof. Now, the first thing I thought of, is it loud when it rains? I had no idea a metal roof was even an option until my most recent meeting with Anthony, the owner of Asset Roofing. And like Anthony usually does, he carefully explained a metal roof does not make noise when it rains, and metal roofs have a lifespan of about 40 years, double the traditional roof. Metal roofs are more eco-friendly and can be made in any color to match your home. Anthony also told me he's seeing a huge push in the market for metal roofing, and Asset Roofing is meeting the demand. They create each metal roof at their headquarters, custom to each job. That allows them to offer metal roofs with up to a 30% discount over their competitors. Reach out to Asset Roofing about a metal roof for your home. AssetRoofingCo.com. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go with the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings up to $17,000 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit LexusofBellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS, lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by July 1st, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
Hey, Brock Heward here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. Well, the seasons, they're a-changing. The guys are playing the sports outdoors. I know many are starting to maybe pull the lawnmower out and get back to the landscape and the outdoor work. I'm going to guess, Shannon, at IRG, maybe a little busier season?
Oh, absolutely, Brock. You know, we know when the seasons change, particularly when it gets warmer, people are in their houses pretty much all winter long with our cold weather, rain, et cetera, particularly here in the Puget Sound. And everybody's excited. They want to rush out and get going with their activity. I'm telling you, as a physical therapist for 35 years here, you need to prepare your body. So take time to warm up, increase some flexibility, do some stretches, because if you prepare your body and prevent injuries, those activities outside, particularly that exciting thing, mowing your lawn, is going to be healthier and it's going to be a lot more fun.
And you feel better. For more info or to book your appointment today, simply go to irgpt.com. It's all waiting for you right there at irgpt.com.
Shane Company loves Seattle so much, we decided to open another jewelry store in the area. Come say hi at our new South Center Square location in Tukwila. Shop our beautiful selection of fine jewelry or stop by our new Create Your Own station and make something one of a kind. You can also step into our pop-up radio booth to share a story about your jewelry for a chance to be featured on the radio. And of course, you can still visit us in Linwood, too. We can't wait to see you.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
It's a key ingredient called Tesnor. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. Total T is backed by 5 clinical studies.
I I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text PREP to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text PREP to 321-321. That's PREP to 321-321.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Storm are taking on the defending champ Aces tonight. This one's in Vegas. Seattle's on a 5-game win streak, which is great, but they're going to get a big test against Asia Wilson. She's coming off a 36-point game and a win over Dallas on Wednesday. Wilson averaging 29.9 per game. Jewel Lloyd, of course, leading Seattle in scoring this season. The Mariners are getting a test during a soft spot in the schedule here with a series against the 37-win Kansas City Royals. They are one of the biggest surprises in baseball this year. This one's in Kansas City with a 5:10 p.m. first pitch. Some good Mariners injury news. Closer Andres Munoz, who left Tuesday's game with a lower back strain, is optimistic he can avoid an IL stint.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
What's the latest from Seahawks OTAs? Let's bring on Seahawks.com's John Boyle. He joins us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, John, how's it going?
Hi, how's it going for you guys? Things are well here.
Good. We have heard phenomenal things about a couple folks coming out of OTAs. The biggest name, obviously,
I thought it was a good week for me too. Oh.
I know. It's a big week for John Boyle. We've been hearing great things about John Boyle. We are hoping that you are seeing good things from Jackson Smith-Njigba. How's he looking?
Yeah, you're right. He was a player that really kind of stood out, and with these being voluntary, some of the more veteran guys have not been here. They've all been kind of in and out. Nobody's sat out the whole thing that I can tell, but. There has been some practices where a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba has been sort of the man out there and looked very good, making a ton of catches. So, as always, it's May, it's June. You can't read too much into any one thing, but he's certainly a player who, finished the season really strong last year, and you would expect to be a guy they're looking to sort of make a year two jump and be a bigger part of the offense.
Tell us about P.J. Walker, Boyle. What does it mean to this team, and how's he? I mean, he hasn't been out there yet, but what do you expect is out of him?
Well, I can't really tell you much about him because that hasn't happened yet officially, and team website and all. Come on, Bob. You're putting me in a bad spot.
My bad. Hey, you know what? I came into this interview and I told myself I was not gonna ask you that. So pretend
and yet here we are.
And then here we are. So you know what?
When you say PJ, if you want to talk about the fantastic Pearl Jam concert in Seattle last week,
yeah,
I heard good things.
Yeah, how was that? That was great. Let me ask you about Sam Howell. What have you seen out of Sam Howell? Goodness gracious, Bump.
Come on now, gonna get me in trouble. No, Sam Howell. I mean, look, Gino's the guy. He's the starter. They've made that clear, and he has looked like the best quarterback out there, which you would hope for a premier Pro Bowl starting quarterback. But Sam Howell's shown a lot of good things. I think it's hard to read too much into any one practice for either quarterback because there's so much learning going on right now. And unless exactly where they're at installing stuff. And like sometimes they might be tinkering with stuff that it might not look good one day just because you don't know. But, from what we're hearing from the coaches, from Mike McDonald, from Ryan Grubb, like they're very excited about both these quarterbacks and really like the upside in Sam Howell to be, a really good backup for now and a guy that, who knows, maybe he's got a bright future with them. We got to wait and see how that develops. But, in general, hearing especially from Ryan Grubb last week, he talked about just what a great job both these quarterbacks are doing right now, learning as they install a whole new offense and something that's new to all of them. So it's an exciting time for these guys. But, yeah, I think, the Seahawks feel pretty good about being able to get Sam Howell after losing Drew Lock in free agency to shore up that backup spot.
Hey, John, let's head to an area of concern for me, but also one where I have some interesting names to follow. That would be linebacker, of course. We knew that this was a thin group heading into the offseason. They add 2 free agents, and they're dealing with injuries. Tell me what I need to know about this group right now.
Yeah, we don't know a ton about the injuries. Mike McDonald was fairly vague about it, which he's allowed to be this time of year. But, the hope is to have everybody out there for training camp, he said. But, look, they, as you mentioned, we knew that was going to be a position of some depth concerns going into free agency. They did address it by adding Dotson and Jerome Baker, but, you also go out and draft a guy in Tyrese Knight that you hope you see some upside in. So right now I think it's just going to be a lot of competition, training camp, a lot of learning for everybody. Just like we were talking about the offense, defense, this is all new to these guys. Nobody's been in this system. So, I wouldn't say that position is necessarily a concern to me. It's just more we don't know yet. There's so many variables at play. We really haven't seen these 2 free agents they signed, so it's kind of wait and see how that looks. But it's different. We've been so used to minus 1 year. We've been used to Bobby Wagner being out there for more than a decade, and even Jordan Brooks have been there 4 years. So it's going to look different, and it's going to be a position to definitely keep an eye on in camp.
Boy, I'm hearing that there's a lot more communication going on with that defense out there, from the guys on the field to the sideline. Do you get that feel?
Yeah, look, I don't want to disparage what was going on before, and I don't think you can really know for sure exactly what the communication was and wasn't before. But what I do find interesting is hearing some of the guys just in talking about this defense, what the communication involves and how important it is. And, Rayshon Jenkins talked to the media, one of the new safeties the Seahawks had this offseason. He talked to the media a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about just how imperative that communication is, because one thing we've heard Mike McDonald talk about is they want to be able to disguise some things, to show, we're going to show you the same look on a couple different plays and do totally different things. And for that to work, that whole defense needs to be on the same page, not just, the secondary on the same page, the linebackers on the same page. It's got to be all 3 levels, knowing what everybody else is doing for it to work right in this defense. So I do think that's going to be a big factor as everybody's learning, is just making sure the communication is there.
Hey, looking on the offensive side of things, this is some of the most interesting practices you could go to, because we're all so curious to know what the offense is going to look like with Ryan Grubb, and yet we can't really see anything, right? They're not going to roll out the playbook. They're not going to show us the fun stuff. And not only that, but they've got to install so much of it. So for you, what do you find yourself personally tracking offensively at camp?
Yeah, as you said, they're still installing. It's not even all the way in yet. I think Grubb said it was probably about 50% when we heard from him earlier in the week. So, specific plays, you're not learning a lot, but it's more just watching guys, seeing what they're doing. You open this house about Jackson Smith and Jig, but just seeing how he's developing. And then, I think just in terms of competition, there's going to be a lot of intrigue all the way through camp of watching that offensive line, because that's a spot where there are some positions, seemingly up for grabs. Right guard. I think everyone assumed that the rookie Christian Haynes was going to come in and compete with Bradford for that job, but then we've actually seen McClendon Curtis out there quite a bit at right guard. So he's a guy that, came to the Seahawks as a tackle last year, but they liked his versatility, so he's sort of the wild card in their guard. And then, I think Oluwatimi is probably the leader at center, but that's not settled yet either. So competition-wise, that'll be a position. And then, we don't know when Abe Lucas is getting back. I'd say, they added George Fant, which is a big deal, to have a really solid veteran starter as an extra tackle there. But whenever Abe Lucas gets back, whatever that looks like. So a lot of moving pieces on the line right now, and Ryan Grubb kind of acknowledged that that's maybe where they're a little more unsettled. But I do think that group's got a lot of potential to grow.
I'm looking at Boye Mafe. I'm expecting him to continue to get better. He's done that 2 years in a row now. And then I'm looking at Chinna Nwosu, man. I think this defense really missed him. How's he looking out there?
Yeah, he's looked great. That's probably been one of the brighter spots of this offseason. Not necessarily anything he's doing that jumps out on the field because, no pads, limited contact. There's only so much those guys in the trenches can show. But just the fact that he's been out there seemingly with no limitations, and that's a big deal because, I'm not pinning the whole turn of the defense on one guy. The other guys need to step up and do better. But the defense really did change when he came out last season. And, he's been such a good player the year and a half he's been on the field for the Seahawks. So getting him back, you mentioned Boye Mafe. Darrell Taylor maybe didn't have the year people were hoping last year, but he still got a lot of upside, and maybe a new coaching staff can get something out of him. So I do feel like that edge rotation, hopefully Derek Hall takes a year or two leap. There's a lot of guys there that they should be pretty deep and pretty talented on the edge.
Hey, I don't mean to take too many steps back in the interview, but we've been talking so much about the Mariners and the trade deadline that it's making me wonder if the Seahawks at any point are a team that would need to think about adding. They've done it before late in the season, Sheldon Richardson being a late addition. For you, when you look at, for instance, the linebacker room or any other place, does it feel like a club where they would be a candidate for a late offseason addition?
I mean, potentially. To quote or paraphrase John Schneider, he talks about how it's a year-round process building their roster, and they're not going to feel like they're just settled and done. The goal coming after agency in the draft is to feel like you've addressed all the obvious needs and don't go into training camp with just some gaping hole on your roster, and I think they've done a good job of that. But if, especially when we get to the end of August and teams are making decisions on their own rosters, if there's a guy that comes available, either a guy getting released maybe for salary cap reasons or a trade guy comes available via trade, John Schneider and company are going to be paying attention and looking to improve any way they can. So, yeah, I don't think, like any year, I think it's the case that what's on the 90-man roster right now, at least a couple guys on the 53-man roster come September aren't currently on this team. That's just kind of the way it always works.
John, last year it felt like the secondary had the most competition. And I'm just looking at the numbers and the youth at that position, and I would be inclined to say that it might be the same position this year that has the most competition. Would you agree or disagree?
No, I would say so, especially at cornerback. Safety, they did add a couple guys, and, it seems like Kobe Bryant's playing there a lot again. So they, not that they're not deep there, but that doesn't feel quite as deep as what's going on at cornerback with, right now it's been mostly Trey Brown and Reek Woolen on the outside with Witherspoon playing a lot of nickel. And I think he's, to me, he's one of the most fascinating players going in this season to see what Mike Macdonald's going to do with Witherspoon. But then, the depth there with Mike Jackson back, the two Auburn guys they drafted, there's a lot of talent at that position group. A lot of guys, multiple guys who've started some games for them. Some got a couple Pro Bowlers. Then you use 2 draft picks on that spot. So going to be highly competitive in camp. Probably a good player too is not going to make this team, and it's going to be some tough decisions.
All right, John. Last question for me. Tell us what we're watching for when mandatory minicamp rolls around next week.
Yeah, I mean it'll be the first time we get an extended 3-day look at all these guys all at once. I think everybody should be out there. I don't know of anybody. I haven't seen reports of anybody not planning on showing up. So getting eyes on the full squad. And then, I talked about it already, but those offensive line competitions, defensive line, especially, again, because everybody should be there, we're going to get to see a little more how they want to rotate guys. I mean, that's another, going off that conversation about cornerback, that defensive front is very deep right now when you go out and add Byron Murphy in the draft, re-sign Leonard Williams, and just how they're going to use guys. I mean, I know fans saw on Instagram the post from a trainer about Draymond Jones working on the edge some, and Jaron Reed talked about playing defensive end. So just this flexibility, versatility guys on the line. I'm really curious to see what it looks like down to down, how they're going to move guys around and take advantage of different talents there.
What coach, we hear about McDonald and obviously Dirty and Ryan Grubb, but is there a coach out there that you feel like isn't getting a lot of attention but is going to have a huge impact? And Leslie Frazier, get him out of there too. Is there another coach out there that you feel like is going to have a big impact?
I was about to say Leslie Frazier, but I mean, because to me, I know you said get him out of there, but I just really quickly to talk about him. I think that's just someone that we've heard so many coaches talking about him, what he can do in terms of just experience he provides for a young head coach. And we've seen other young coaches come in the league. They need sort of that veteran guy with a lot of experience to help be the leader for them. And then he's been, his name just keeps coming up unprompted for a lot of guys. And I think he's going to help this coaching staff a lot. I know we keep bringing up the offensive line, but really curious to see what Scott Huff can do with that group. I mean, he had a lot of success, obviously, at Washington working with Grubb, and that's an area when you look at all the weapons they have on offense, where this offense can really take a step from last year to this year, I think, is if they can get better on that offensive line. So if Huff can make a difference with that group and bring a little more out of guys, or just figure out some, whether it's scheming up different blocking combinations or whatever it is, if they can get better up front, I think this offense has the potential to really get going.
If you have the Seahawks app, or you can go to Seahawks.com, you can check out the news section and see the latest from John. He is John Boyle. Thanks so much, John.
Boyle.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
See ya. Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, 2 teams have not made the playoffs in over 8 seasons. I know one of them. I don't know that I know the other. Who are the teams, and which one, if not both, will make the playoffs in 2024?
Who's the one you're thinking?
The Broncos.
The Broncos have not made it since 2015, I believe, 2015-16. And then the New York Jets have not made
right in
it
front of me the whole time.
in like over 10 years. And then to throw something else in there, who do you think is the team who hasn't had a playoff win since the year 2000? Oh, you know that one. That was easy. But so I'm looking at those 2 teams, and imagine if both of them make the playoffs. That means Sean Payton is doing his thing. That means Robert Saleh, he's a good coach, but he really hasn't done much yet with the Jets. But you got Aaron Rodgers coming in. If they make the playoffs, obviously they're contending in their division. Obviously, you got to go with the New York Football Jets, man. They had not New York Football Giants, New York Jets. They have a roster. They are impressive. Going into last year, people had them to win or at least get to the Super Bowl. You just look at the talent they got out there, man. Aaron Rodgers, you got Breece Hall, who led all running backs in receiving yards. You got Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams came over, Malachi Corley. I'm telling you, this is my year's Tank Dell. Last year I was talking about Tank Dell. This year I'm talking about Malachi Corley. You guys watch these guys, and then defensively, they'll be good to go. So the Jets are going to end their playoff drought. I think they're going to be in the playoffs. I'm interested to see what the Denver Broncos do, though, man. They got a lot of questions to be answered over there. A new quarterback. You got Franklin over there as well at the receiver spot. Just interesting. Another storyline for you to watch.
Did you see the video of Sauce Gardner? I think Sauce Gardner making fun of Malachi for his note-taking.
Yes.
It was like you, because you have your iPad and your penmanship on your iPad. I have amazing penmanship. And I can't make the stylus work on the iPad. I just can't. Your notes are so clean. I saw Malachi's and I immediately thought, this guy gets it. This is a note taker.
His notes definitely look like a 6th grade girl who is just really
adorable.
into it.
There was like swirly, curly, like circles around different things. I was like, I'm here for it. Whatever helps you learn, whatever helps you absorb information. Also, I have to come clean about something.
What's that?
When you asked me about the team to not win a playoff game in 24 years, the only reason I knew the answer is that coming up at 12:30 in NFL headlines is a really, really, really interesting story about what the Dolphins are doing this offseason to try to correct that.
Okay. You cheated.
Second down. What did Justin Tucker request that made you laugh, and why do you think he should be careful what he asks for?
So there's obviously the new kickoff rules are going to allow more kickoffs. And there are some teams that said we might experiment with just an athlete kicking the football because returns are going to happen more frequently. And Tucker said, yeah, I want to get in there. I want to stick my nose in there.
He sounded just like it.
I go, Tucker, man, you're like 5'9", $165. You don't want that smoke. You better be careful what you ask for. So then it made me just look up some of the kickers who have the most tackles in NFL history. You got Neil Rackers with 50 of them things. It was drafted in 2000. Jay Feely has 43 tackles. You got Jeff Wilkins with 39 tackles. You got David Akers with 38 tackles. I'm saying, look, Tucker, it sounds good. You don't want that smoke, dog. You're not going down there tackling a man your size. Maybe you are tackling a man your size, but they are built different. They train different. So, Tucker, you are the greatest, probably the greatest kicker of all time.
Yep.
Simmer down. Kick the football. If you don't have to make the tackle, don't stick your nose in there.
What is an objectively cooler or more impressive thing for you to see? A pitcher making a great play, fielding a ball, or a kicker tackling a returner?
Oh, it's kicker all day. There was a kicker, I want to say it was BYU back in the day a few years ago, who lit a returner up like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, I mean, pitchers scare me. We see what happened with Munoz. Our guy Salcedo making a play. I just give the ball to the first baseman or the catcher, let them make the play. But when you see a kicker go down there and actually be a football player, that gets me going. I wonder if it gets Dave Wyman going.
Third down. What's something you cautiously want to see Geno take from Sam Howell's game?
All right, I say this cautiously because last year What's one of the knocks that people said about Geno?
Oh, God, there were so many. He was inconsistent. There was the interception stuff.
And he holds on to the football.
Oh, okay. Yes, holds on to the football.
So when I watched film of Sam Howell's going to let that thing go. He might force it in there a few times. And I want to see Geno, at least to start the year, do that a bit more. Take a few more chances, man, because like I said, I've said several times, the offense is going to have to lead the charge, man. So now I started looking at some stats. Geno was 14th when it comes to yards per attempt. You know who was first when it comes to yards per attempt? Brock Purdy. So y'all stop hating on Brock Purdy. He
really
pushed the ball down the field.
We do.
Last year, Geno had 7 games with interceptions. You know who led the league?
Games with interceptions?
Games with interceptions.
Is it going to be a surprising name?
Nah.
Who?
Maybe. I don't know. He
Who
turned
is
the
it?
ball over a lot.
Is it Dak?
Nah.
Not Josh.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen?
14 games with interception. You got Sam Howell with 13, and then Mahomes with 12 games with an interception. I'm not saying be irresponsible with the football, but I am saying with Rubb's offense, he's going to require you to throw the football down the field. And we saw how many 50-50 footballs Michael Penix used to throw to Roma Dunze. I'm saying you got 3 dudes who can get it done. Take a few more chances. If it gets out of hand, then, you reel it back in and take your time with it. But to start the year, go ahead and let it go, Geno. Take some chances.
4th down. Bleacher Report gave their rankings of teams with the strongest and weakest position groups. What stands out?
So obviously I'm going to look at the receivers because I'm a receiver.
Bias.
And they gave the Bears, they said the Bears had the strongest receiver group. They got a squad. You got Moore, who had 96 receptions, 1,300 yards. You got Keenan Allen, who had 108 and 1,200 last year. And you got Roma Dunze. I hate that writers and analysts just crown people before they play one game in the league. Not even one. I think Rome's going to ball out. But I'd go straight to the Texans. I say the Texans have the best receiver group in the game. You got Diggs, you got Collins, you got Dell. After that, you still got the Dolphins with Hill, Waddle, and Beckham. If Beckham's healthy, I think he can do damage. And then you still have the Eagles with Brown, Smith, and Parker. I'm not ready to hop on the Bears train.
No.
They're not even going to make the playoffs. Caleb Williams is going to throw for 20-plus interceptions. You mark my words. He's going to ball. He's going to make some plays. I'm telling you, it's not going to go down the way people think. I understand what he did in college football, but this is not college football. Unless he hits the scene and he's like a Pat Mahomes who can just get it done, then he's good to go. But Pat Mahomes sat for a little bit as well. There's going to be some growing pains. I'm not ready to jump on the Bears train and say they're going to make the playoffs and have the best receiving core in the game. I think they might have the most talented, but receivers are only as good as their quarterback, and they're dealing with a rookie. No playoffs for the Bears.
I don't think it's a reckless prediction. I don't think it would be wrong. I think going worst to first, they wouldn't need to be first to make the playoffs, but I think that kind of improvement is really rare. I will agree with you on this. I think we are so quick to crown a new group, a new winner, a new whatever, based entirely on hype. I mean, we had Trevor Sikkema, who I have a ton of respect for, who had Caleb in his top 20 starters, even though he's never taken a snap. And he explained why.
He's talented, yeah.
I really like the wide receiver group for the Bears. How do you put that over what's in Miami?
Rome, I love
Which is proven.
I love Rome.
He hasn't taken a snap either.
He's going to be great, but we ain't seen it yet. Stop crowning these young men already.
Tyreek has been to Super Bowls. Waddle has actually played and just got an extension. Like, these are guys that have already proven it.
Yeah, I don't get it. But,
Man.
I mean, I get it.
I get it, but I don't.
But I don't get it.
You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Coming up in the timeline, Adam Silver talks where NBA expansion currently stands.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
All right, Brady Henderson is with us.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
And when you watch, and I've been out there for 2 of the practices, I know you've been out there for all 3, pretty clear. Geno's starting quarterback.
You really get to see how the quarterbacks look compared to one another. It's not a totally an apples to apples because you've got, Geno Smith working exclusively with the number 1 offense, but you really get to see where one guy stands versus the other, and it's just clear that Geno Smith is pretty far ahead of Sam.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get ready to move and groove. The Mariners are throwing it back to the 70s for the next fireworks night on Friday, June 14th. Don't miss your chance to dance at our postgame show. Presented by T-Mobile after the Mariners square off against the Rangers in an AL West showdown at 7:10.
Munoz, the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and the ball game's over. The Mariners win it.
Break out your platform shoes and polyester and sing along to smash hits from the 70s. Visit Mariners.com to get your tickets and catch 2 great shows for the price of 1. Mariners baseball and a fireworks spectacular. Plus, check out the rest of the festivities on deck at T-Mobile Park for Father's Day weekend, including a big dumper seat cushion giveaway for the first 10,000 dads on Sunday, June 16th, thanks to Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Cal Raleigh wins it in the 10th inning for the Mariners tonight in Seattle.
Mariners baseball. Boogie down and try dance up.
For over 111 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington. From the Space Needle in Seattle and now all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. PacificLamp.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at EmeraldQueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or ceiling paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Tuesday, June 11th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Players Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go with the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings up to $17,000 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit LexusofBellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS, lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by July 1st, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
Do you have unfiled tax returns or being threatened by the IRS that your wages are about to be garnished or bank accounts are going to be levied? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has professionals ready to fight for you. Their enrolled agents, tax attorneys, and CPAs have saved millions of dollars for taxpayers just like you. They won't just resolve your tax problems. They'll most importantly protect your wages, bank accounts, and all your assets from being taken by the IRS. Call for a free consultation. 800-230-5174. 800-230-5174 or go to alliestaxrelief.com.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I call myself a confident backseat driver. Mom, brakes, please.
Gotcha.
But I'm less confident in the economy.
Same here, buddy.
Thankfully, Les Schwab Tires helps make sure that our safety never takes a backseat, even when we're watching our wallets.
Roll into summer. Save up to $200 instantly on a wide selection of tires and wheels. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. Details at leschwab.com/sale.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It's The Timeline, talking about what's trending in the world of sports today. And, of course, we've got some NBA talk to get to, though this doesn't have to do with Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Mavs losing that one, looking to bounce back into it. Hello, Porzingis. Welcome back. Instead, we're going to talk about NBA expansion. Adam Silver was talking with reporters and gave a full answer on where NBA expansion currently stands.
Media deals, it's been a long process. It's ongoing, and we hope to wrap it up, in the relative near term. And then we will turn to expansion. But by turning to expansion, it doesn't mean that we're going to announce that now we're ready to add teams. It means that there'll be a committee of NBA governors that will focus on it. There's clearly markets out there that are very interested, and we'll run through a process. But I actually am looking forward to that. I think that the league, it's not preordained that we will expand this time, but I know there's an enormous amount of interest out there. And to me, yes, there are wealthy individuals, institutions that would like to invest and buy NBA teams, but I think it's on the league to look holistically, because there's the dilution, of course. Let's just say we expand by 2 teams. What does that mean for talent? I feel great about where the talent is right now in the league, but those players have to come from somewhere. If you add 2 teams, how does it work geographically? What will it mean for growing the game? At some point, we'd like to look outside the United States in addition to Canada. This may not be the right moment to do that, but I'm thinking long-term as well. So I'm actually very excited about turning to that process. But first, we just got to be finished with the media deals.
Oh, my God, Adam. Just say you aren't entirely sure whether or not you're going to do it during this first round of conversations. But either way, a lot to digest from that. I was stuck on his idea of the dilution of talent with expansion drafts. What do you think?
When he said a lot of words right there. He said a lot.
He sure did.
And the whole time I was thinking about the Eminem and 8 Mile scene. I didn't hear anything you say. Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I've seen 8 Mile.
All right, man. I'm about to say, for your culture, you better have seen that movie.
I had to see it to support the whites.
There you go. But yeah, I'm stuck on that too. He goes, the delusion of talent.
Yeah.
My man's 12 guys on the roster. You mean to tell me there aren't 24 guys out in this world who can play in the NBA? You mean there isn't a superstar waiting like Brunson was on the Dallas Mavericks going to the Knicks? You can just pluck and put on a team. And the Europeans are taking over the league anyway. Go over to France. There's a kid that's like 16 years old right now. I forgot his name. Who's in France right now, balling. Who's ready for the league? Say it's about the money and geography and all that, where the teams are. All that makes sense. But the talent thing, no. There's already dudes who are at Bally's right now, 24-hour fitness right now, who's 6'6", 6'7", who can play in this league. Man, I don't buy that. But the money and location, all of that makes sense. There are 24 guys in the world that can play in the league right now.
I think this is a guy just really overthinking the situation. We want to expand outside of the U.S. Well, yeah, why don't you expand in the U.S. first, starting with the city whose team was stolen with Seattle? One thing when your team is stolen is that if you decide to expand, well, that's a bit different. There have been teams relocated since 2004. There's not been an expansion team since 2004. But look, we've seen this in the NHL, right? Teams protect the stars that they don't want to trade. Oh, I'm sorry. You're worried about Luka getting taken from the Mavs? That's not going to happen. Are you worried about Anthony Edwards getting taken from the T-Wolves? That's not going to happen. Those players are going to be protected. That's why expansion teams outside of the NHL's recent example of the Knights typically really struggle to start out because they're taking guys that are like B and C listers or maybe backups or a number 5 guy. They're not building with stars. So I don't know what kind of delusion of talent he's talking about.
Hear me out.
Diluting, excuse me.
Take LeBron and Bronny and put them on a team for your expansion team. The seats will be filled.
Well, I think that's kind of what LeBron wants to do after his playing career is get involved with whatever team lands in Vegas.
He should.
There you go. There's talent out there. I mean, every team has their
it's
superstar.
Just a dumb excuse.
We're not saying take Steph Curry. We're not saying take Brunson. We're not saying take Luka like you mentioned. It's there are guys out there, and there are guys who aren't starters right now, who are young and developing, who can help teams
The
out as well.
guys that Seattle as an expansion team would be taking are guys that would be packaged in trades that these teams would be making anyways.
A lot of roster filler.
A lot of roster fillers.
Yeah.
Seattle will not be able to build a club with a lot of stars. They're going to have to draft especially well for several seasons in a row, luck out with the lottery, and hope that the guys that they take maybe try to spend in free agency end up doing something. They are not going to stack this roster with stars, so I don't know where Adam Silver thinks those guys are going.
Yeah, ain't going nowhere.
No, it's just you just reach a point of frustration as a Seattle fan every single time they throw out. Well, even him throwing out at the end, and we want to think of expansion and growing the game, maybe looking at a team in Canada. Why don't you start a little further south first, Adam? No.
You can make a stop before you get to Canada. Just hop on the 5.
I
Yes, I
know.
said the 5 and go north.
Oh, God. Moving on. A really interesting story here. Now, this one is all speculation. It's based on a caller into a sports radio station, not something we know. But a WFAN caller, Dr. Joe, floated Dave Sims for the Yankees radio job opening.
As I understand, looking for someone outside of the present network, such as this name has been thrown out to me, Dave Sims.
Okay, interesting. Now, Dr. Joe, you say you're close to that Yankee booth, meaning that you're friendly with John and Susan and who's the producer there that does all the stuff, whatever.
And Justin Shackle.
So you're friendly with all these guys?
I know them all. I'm not allowed to say why because of HIPAA laws.
Oh, interesting.
But
so you're the broadcast doctor?
The radio broadcast doctor, I guess.
The radio broadcast doctor. So when anything happens, they... Okay. Hey, who told you that Dave Sims was getting the job?
Well, that's just a name that came up. I don't want to say, who it was.
Well, who cares?
But that was a name.
Joe, I mean, you seem like you've been around for a while. You're on the radio here. You're a moment of the day guy. What's the worst that could happen? You throw out the name of the person that told you Dave Sims was getting the job. Seriously.
Someone who's still working in the booth.
Oh, Susan.
Regularly.
Susan told you?
Susan told you that?
She just threw the name out.
Oh, there you go.
They really did. Oh, so it was Susan. She just threw the name out.
Okay, it was
This is me
Susan.
after 3 White Claws. What I'm hearing is this.
He straight up told. He's like, okay, it was Susan.
I'm not hearing from anyone in particular. They're like, it's from the booth. It's coming from the booth.
Does the name start with an S? It might start with an S.
Okay, Susan did tell me, but I
Rhymes
don't.
with losing.
I don't want to violate HIPAA laws. I turned him into an Italian, like a really thick Italian East Coast accent.
You ever
I don't want to
watch-
violate the day of my daughter's
You
wedding.
watch First 48 ever?
Have I like the crime series?
Yeah.
Have I watched the first 48?
That was First 48 when the guy walks in. I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
You give me a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Give him that Coca-Cola. He spills all the beans.
I watched a wild interrogation. It was not on First 48. This was a video that went viral a couple years ago and then resurfaced for some reason. So it was all over TikTok and all over Twitter. It's this woman who hired a hitman to kill her husband. Have you guys heard
I
of this?
saw that.
But the hitman she hired was an undercover cop. So they made her think. The cops, it's an entire sting. They show up. They tell her your husband's been killed. They bring her into an interrogation room. They start talking to her for like an hour. Do you know who would want to kill your husband? Do you know why they would want to kill your husband? And then they bring her husband into the room.
Whoa. Yeah.
And she's got to be like,
You know
What?
the husband's name?
what was it?
Michael.
Dang.
Jen, don't do it, babe.
That is crazy, though. I think it was like to try to get, they had only been married for a couple months. I think she was trying to get insurance money or whatever.
Here's my question. Why not just tell her up front, like, look, we got you, man. You tripping. They spent
They knew what they were doing.
taxpayers' dollars to set that whole thing
But
up.
the content we got.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The
I mean, it wasn't awesome that she
content
tried to
we
kill
got.
the man.
No, I'm
but-
glad she didn't.
Yeah.
I'm glad she didn't, but it is a twist.
Yeah.
And it is something else
She was
to
trying
watch.
to sell it, too.
Let me
She was
tell you
crying.
what, I watched that whole interrogation. She was crying. She was, oh my God, what would happen? And you're just like, what's wild is knowing the entire time, like start to finish of this interrogation, they know.
Could you imagine someone you love trying to set you up like that, man. That is the ultimate betrayal, man. Good job, Michael. I'm glad you're fine.
Someone said that's attempted murder. That's why. We didn't ask why it was a crime. We know you can't do it.
But I think they're asking, like, why did they go through that whole process of, like, setting her up and interrogation?
Oh, yeah, to try to, like, I mean, they had her hiring him. They had all of that record, so they already knew it. But I think also it's, like, this idea of how deep can we make it, and can we get her to also, follow through and make it clear that this is part of a plan. I'm sure there was some kind of like investigative reason for it, but yeah, I love the reveal of like, and it's very Maury-esque. Let's bring him in right now. Here's your husband, Michael. The crowd, yeah. IRG injury report brought to you by IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. Andres Munoz with a back injury threw off flat ground yesterday. That's good news. The hope is he'll be available in this upcoming series against the Royals, which starts today at 5:10 p.m. Finally, Gregory Santos threw a bullpen session with the team in Oakland. His recovery time frame is still around July, though. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Don't go anywhere.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike three.
With Jeff Bassett, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
The Mariners have arguably the best pitching staff in baseball. I think I'm probably taking the Mariners at the end of the day over every team in the American League right now.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
This is the team to beat in the division. And it's not just a hot take. That's what the numbers say, that they're the team to beat in the division.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Welcome to IRG Sports Injury Update. We're with Shannon O'Kelly, physical therapist and president of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. And our guest, Dr. Brent Thiel, MD, orthopedic surgeon at Western Washington Medical Group, Orthopedic Sports and Hand Center in Everett.
Dr. Thiel, welcome. How are you?
I'm good.
Tell us about labral tears of the shoulder.
So labral tears to the shoulder, usually related to a significant force. Basically, the ball goes outside its range of motion, and it tears the cartilage rim around the socket, which is called the labrum.
That cartilage rim is pretty important. Tell us why it's important for the shoulder.
So it provides stability to the shoulder. The shoulder, the socket's real flat. The cartilage rim, the labrum is kind of built up, and so it provides a lot of stability.
Signs, symptoms, and how would you diagnose it?
So usually stability issues, pain, provocative symptoms on exam, and then usually MRI.
MRI will show a tear, and if that tear needs to be repaired, how do you repair it?
So typically minimally invasive surgery, arthroscopic surgery, going with little poke holes in the shoulder joint and doing repair.
If I'm an athlete or just a recreational athlete, how long do I have to rehab before I can get back to activity?
Usually it takes at least 3 to 4 months for you to rehab it afterwards.
But the outcome is usually pretty good. If I'm an athlete, overhead athlete, let's say I like tennis, I'll be able to get back to it with the repair in time?
Yes, most people can.
Wonderful. There you go. Everything you need to know about labral tears of the shoulder with Dr. Thiel. If you want more information from Dr. Thiel regarding shoulder injuries, you can contact him at www.medgroup.com. That's www.medgroup.com.
With over 40 neighborhood clinics around Washington, IRG has you covered. Let IRG be your family's physical therapist. Find the location nearest you at irgpt.com. That's irgpt.com.
Want to listen to Seattle Sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle Sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Looking for a new ride? Visit harnissautofamily.com for the hometown hookup on new Subarus, Chevrolets, Buick, GMCs, Kias, and Volkswagens, plus over 300 used cars and trucks. Tell them Brock sent you. harnissautofamily.com. People matter.
Having quality care matters to everybody. So, let's talk about it. Optum Care Washington is healthier primary and specialty care. Your doctor can connect you to the care you need with top clinicians in more than 55 specialties, including podiatry, orthopedics, sports medicine, and spine specialists. And if you ever need ENT, breast, or colorectal surgery, you can count on board-certified surgeons. For top local doctors focused on you, connect with Optum at yourhealthwa.com.
Kirkland Eastside Shell reminds parents to talk with your teenage drivers about the dangers of distracted driving and texting behind the wheel. Make a family agreement to never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs, or ride with a driver who is. Always designate a sober driver, use a ride share, or call a parent for a safe ride home.
best wishes to the class of 2024 from the entire team at Kirkland Eastside Shell, providing quality care for quality cars on the East Side since 1972.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Girl, let me show you how country feels.
It's time to find out how country feels. Randy Hauser is taking over Muckleshoot Event Center July 20th.
I'll take you up and down these highways.
Get your tickets at muckleshootcasino.com and don't miss Randy Hauser live July 28th. Let's ride.
This is one that we don't want to miss, no.
June is Men's Health Month, and we want to place a special emphasis on prostate cancer awareness and treatment. After skin cancers, prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among American men. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked even if you have no symptoms. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish CyberKnife. It's one of the shortest and most effective, requiring only 5 treatment sessions. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I don't want to be a hater. I think that the person we're about to talk about is exceptionally talented as a broadcaster. I just think Mike Greenberg might be jumping the gun just a tiny bit on this one. Mike Greenberg is looking at Jim Harbaugh, formerly Michigan head coach, going to the Chargers, and Dan Hurley may be leaving for the pros to coach up the Lakers, and thinks it could be the end of college sports as we know it.
This story solidifies that what we are witnessing is the very end of collegiate sports as we have always known them. If in the same year, Jim Harbaugh wins college football's national championship, as he did in Michigan, and Dan Hurley wins college basketball's national championship, as he did at UConn, and both depart to go to the pros, it will be the first time since at minimum 1936, the defending national champion coaches of both college football and men's basketball were not back with their following teams the same year. And I do not think that is a coincidence.
It is a big deal. The defending champion head coaches of men's hoops and of college football, one is already gone, Jim Harbaugh, head coach of Michigan, and the other is in all likelihood gone to coach the Lakers. Bump, I got to be honest, I don't know that this signals the end of college sports as we know it. If anything, the former head coach of the losers in the national championship game, Washington, Kalen DeBoer, going to Alabama, I think that signals a change that's happening in college sports more than these two leaving.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand where he's coming from. So I think he's saying, man, because of NIL, this is the reason why these two coaches are leaving.
Yeah.
I'm sure that has something to do with it. They're leaving because they're taking the next step. Jim Harbaugh has not won a Super Bowl. He's been there. He feels like he has Justin Herbert. He can do this now. We're looking at Hurley. He goes, I'm leaving a great basketball program to go to one of the most storied franchises in all of sports. It's a step up, and they're probably going to get paid more money. So, but if he's talking about it, if he's looking at it this way and saying, well, Nick Saban is gone now, and Jim Harbaugh is going to be gone, Hurley's gone, like great coaches are gone, I'm still looking at some great coaches. Dan Lanning, Steve Sarkisian, we got Lincoln Riley, You got
Who turned down bigger jobs this
Kirby
offseason.
Smart.
Yep.
You know, so it is a couple angles you can look at this thing. It's not over it's changing. Kids actually have like leverage and can make moves if they want to make moves. He sounds like just an old grumpy dude who's like, guys shouldn't be paid, and that's why these coaches are leaving. I think there are a lot of factors when it comes into this. It's money. It is NIL. It's opportunity. It's ego. There's a lot that goes into it. He sounds a bit dramatic with that take.
I think being a little bit of a hot take artist, maybe, again, I think an exceptionally talented broadcaster. I just happen to disagree.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe pointing to the wrong coaches. If you wanted to point to Nick Saban and say, I think Nick Saban left because of a changing college football landscape that he's not happy with. I think you'd be 1,000% correct.
Yep.
Now, you could also point to Nick Saban having been there for nearly 20 years and Nick Saban knowing that, he'd have to compete in a very different way and that automatically getting the best 5-star recruits maybe wouldn't be happening anymore, and that makes the job more difficult. All of that would be true.
Yeah.
Players entering the transfer portal being what it is now, all of that's true. Dan Hurley is going to be head coach of the Lakers because they're the Lakers.
Yeah.
Michigan was facing potential discipline.
Got up out of there.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there were all kinds of reasons surrounding Jim Harbaugh's departure from Michigan that have nothing to do with the state of college football and everything to do with the state of what's happening to Michigan and with Jim Harbaugh and his tendency to go from place to place, try to find success and move on. He's been with Stanford, been with the 49ers. Now he's with the Chargers. This is not a guy who will probably ever be content spending 25 years as head coach anywhere. That just doesn't happen.
He put a good 8-9 years over there in Michigan. He won a national championship. He goes, okay, mission completed. Let's go try another one. And this is what happens in life and in sports. Things change. And the older I get, the more I try to accept that things change, because I find myself having conversations with my guys. Man, back in our day, we used to do this, that, and the third. But if things were still the same, then that means we're not progressing, whether it be in sports and life, whatever. So, no, he just sounds like a middle-aged guy who doesn't like change. And just get used to it, because it's going to continue to change. And these kids have power, and that did factor into it. But these guys are taking a step up and want to accomplish something else. They've done everything they need to do or wanted to do at that level. Why not challenge yourself, get paid more money, and do it on the next level?
253 says, I think the transfer portal is a bigger problem than NIL. Let's kind of focus on that part. Neither of us think that Jim Harbaugh leaving or Dan Hurley leaving symbolizes like the end of college sports as we know it. Both of us think it's kind of a dramatic take. So let's talk about what is changing about college sports and what changes are real. I completely agree with this texter. The transfer portal has a bigger impact than Clemson not being able to get every single 5-star it wants because now another school can spend a ton of money on an NIL deal. But Washington losing essentially every starter to the draft or transfer portal after a championship appearance, that's big.
Yeah, it is big. I also feel like in Harbaugh's and Hurley's position, it affects them, but not the way it does other programs. Like, people transfer into Michigan. You get a 5-star who wasn't getting playing time at one school. He's going to Michigan because they won a national championship, and he might get more opportunity. People transfer into UConn, a 5-star who was on the bench in Kentucky, and he wants another opportunity to win a national championship. The transfer portal affects them a bit differently. The transfer portal hurts schools like Washington State, San Diego State, any school that is a lower Division I school and has some type of success, your guys are going to go. At a spot like UConn and Michigan, guys are going to leave, but your ballers are going to stay. If you have a great year, if J.J. McCarthy, he had a great year the year before this, he won the national championship. He ain't going nowhere because he plays for Michigan. He's J.J. McCarthy. So it's different. It is affecting the landscape of college sports, but if you're at the top, it's a bit different for you.
I think that what would look like a problem would be coaches making lower moves, so not lateral or improved moves. And people have pointed to that with a couple coordinators. There were 4 coordinators in the NFL this year, I believe, that came from the college ranks this past season. There are some of those guys that you look at as having made a backwards move, going from a head coach, I think at Boston, to an offensive or defensive coordinator. Like, that would be a move where you'd go, is there a college sports problem? But that's also not a program that a ton of people are looking at as being as impactful as a Michigan or as UConn in men's hoops. So again, I know that NIL deals, that the transfer portal is changing college sports as we know it. Conference realignment has changed college sports as we know it. We are here as graduates and alumni of schools in a conference that no longer exists, right? College sports are changing. I don't know that this is anything that needs to make us panic.
Nah, we good.
Sorry, Mike. All right. Heading into the second half of the show here, we're going to start getting back to the Seahawks. John Schneider, some interesting things to say about the Seahawks' newest additions.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run.
You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open.
Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We are seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate, seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
At Shane Company, we'll help you design an engagement ring as unique as your love story. We have the widest selection of diamonds and gemstones for you to choose from, and you can compare them side by side right here in our store. Only at Shane Company can you sift through exquisite diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in a variety of shapes and sizes. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring no matter your price range. Choose the ring setting that speaks to your style, from classic to modern to vintage. We offer so many ways to personalize your ring. Pick your favorite center stone, add a decorative crown and a custom engraving, or select a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, our jewelers know how much your ring means to you. They hand-set each center stone with precision and pride in our jeweler's workshop, so you can feel confident knowing your ring is crafted with the greatest care and comes with an unmatched free lifetime warranty that lets you know we'll always be here for you. Your love story deserves to shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You want more speed? Well, you're in luck because Xfinity just increased their internet speeds and they are faster than ever. Plus, with super fast internet and that reliable connection, you can do more of what you love whenever you want. So that means more gaming. So when my son Titus has his entire baseball team over and they're all gaming, no problem. That means more downloading, more video chatting our kids from away. And for the wife and I, yeah, maybe that means more nights on the couch streaming our favorite movies and TV shows every single night. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. And now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or go visit that Xfinity store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment taxes and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Make the call to 1-800-XFINITY.
Tired of a boring backyard? State Roofing's expert team can help you create the perfect deck before summer hits. We'll make sure your deck is the envy of the neighborhood. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com for a free estimate. That's stateroofing.com.
It's Cookies Country Chicken's Saucy Reminder. 10 sauces. You know where? At Cookies. They've got that real good chicken.
So many sauces.
Fresh fried chicken any way you like it. At Cookies. CookiesCountryChicken.com.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? A recent stash of 1902 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1902 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 300 of these Morgan silver dollars are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-806-1641, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1902 Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic old mint mark of the New Orleans Mint, but with limited quantity. You must call now. These 1902 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 122 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-806-1641. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-806-1641 now to secure your 1902 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-806-1641.
Hey, sports fans, ready to take your fitness game to the next level? At Emerald City Athletics, they're on your team. Score big this June with the unbeatable summer sale on now. Get 20% off all memberships and join with 0 enrollment fees. There's never been a better time to get started at Seattle's favorite local gym, Emerald City Athletics. Whether you're looking to build strength, increase endurance, or just stay in the game, their team of fitness pros will come up with the perfect game plan for you. Emerald City Athletics' top-notch trainers and state-of-the-art facilities are there to help you crush your fitness goals, whatever they may be. Hey, don't wait. Join the winning team at Emerald City Athletics and start a customized fitness journey that will level up every area of your life. Get started today with 20% off all memberships and no enrollment fees. Some restrictions apply. This summer sale is on now for a limited time. Emerald City Athletics has gyms in Wallingford, Columbia City, Ballinger Village, and Everett. Stop by any Emerald City Athletics location to lock in exclusive summer savings today.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go with the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings up to $17,000 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit LexusofBellevue.com.
On approval of credit through LFS, lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by July 1st, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Tonight, Seattle Storm taking on the defending champ Vegas Aces. This one is in Vegas. Seattle's on a 5-game win streak. They're going to get a big test here, though, from Asia Wilson. She's coming off a 36-point game and a win over Dallas on Wednesday. The Mariners are getting a test and a soft spot in the schedule here with a series against the 37-win Kansas City Royals. They are one of the biggest surprises in baseball. This one's in Kansas City, 5:10 p.m. first pitch. Some good Mariners injury news. Closer Andres Munoz, who left Tuesday's game with a lower back strain, is optimistic he can avoid an IL stint.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Seahawks general manager John Schneider was on NFL Network, had plenty to say about his new team, so let's dive right into it. This is what John had to say about Byron Murphy.
He's been great. He's really showed up as a pro. You know, he's come in and really worked his tail off, taken to the coaches, wants to learn from, Jay Reed and Leonard Williams, and, it's just exciting. He's a hard worker, and then all the, things you see on film, the initial quickness and the leverage and getting up and down the line of scrimmage and penetration and all that stuff it's been great. Obviously, we're not in pads, so but yeah, it's been impressive so far. So we're excited.
A pro's pro really came in and was ready to show up. We had heard really good things about Byron Murphy. A conversation that we had. Curtis, can you remind me the Texas reporter who we
Chip
had?
Brown?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Football name. Chip Brown.
Very football name, who joined Bump and I. And Bump, he mentioned Byron as being kind of being willing to be the bad cop version in his friendship with Sweat, being like, he's a little more serious. He'll hold guys accountable, not afraid to say anything. I don't know how easy it'll be for a rookie to come in here and hold veterans accountable, but I like that mindset, and it doesn't surprise me he's showing up ready.
Yeah, he's guys who get drafted number 16 overall are different. They just are. The guy who is one of the best in the country at what he does is just different. You're a leader even without being like a vocal type of dude. Like I interviewed, who was it? Haynes, right? Mm-hmm. He is a leader, but he does it differently. So he's going to naturally kind of fall into that position. But what you have to do to earn that position is come out, ball out, and be ready to go. Your first year, rookies are seen and not heard. In your second year, you start to speak up a little bit. But if you go out your rookie year and you get a bunch of sacks and you are just a clear-cut one of the best on the field, naturally you have a bigger voice. So as soon as he starts making plays, I think you see a bit more of that. But to start, you just lead by example, and it sounds like he's doing that already.
Well, and I certainly want to know that there's no behavioral questions about a first-round pick that you took. There were none around Byron Murphy. It's not like that's reassuring to hear because of that, but obviously you fear that. Like, with a 16 overall pick or higher comes a huge investment in someone, and you need to know you can trust that person right away.
Yep.
So really curious to see what he looks like with minicamp. Let's move on. We'll talk about John Schneider's growing relationship with Mike McDonald, what he's learned about his new head coach so far.
Well, he's got a unique ability to, have fun and be engaging and have a great time, and then, have a fun conversation, and then be serious and concise, in the next part of the conversation. And so he has a he has a unique ability to really be clear and concise with his thoughts, and he knows what he wants. And we're learning each other, and he's learning himself. He's learning the team. The whole building's here to support him, and his new coaching staff. And so it's been fun.
Love John Schneider, who is a very sarcastic person throwing in. Look, Mike can be funny, you guys.
He can.
Okay, he's not serious.
Yeah, he's 36.
Yeah.
You could be serious at 36, but you also have some youthfulness to you. So, no, I've had conversation with Coach McDonald, and yeah, when he wants to be locked in, he's locked in. When he's just shooting the you-know-what, he's shooting the you-know-what. He's a football coach, and that's what good football coaches can do. Believe it or not, Bill Belichick has a personality, and they talk about that. I've heard players talk about his the humor that he possesses. To be a leader of men in a locker room, you have to be able to do a little bit of everything. You got to be true to yourself. I'm not saying he has to split it right down the middle, serious and humor, but you got to find ways to connect with people. And the most fun, the hardest I've ever laughed in my life has always been in a locker room. You have to have that type of humor and enjoy what you're doing. You are coaching and playing a game for money. If you ain't having fun at some point doing that and smiling, you're in the wrong business.
Seahawks are in an interesting spot as a franchise and have been for just a couple years now, Bump, because for the longest time, when they had the Legion of Boom and then later when they didn't, but they still had Russ and Bobby, the idea was you're going to win. At no point when I first started covering this team, and certainly before I was on air, were people texting in going, you should tank and get the #1 pick, because this was a team that people thought, take advantage of your window. Right. You got Bobby, you got Russ, you got Hall of Fame players in Bobby Wagner. Like you got starters that aren't going anywhere. Take advantage of this window. I mean, Russ for a period of time was considered like a top 5 passer in the league. Maybe not consistently, but I mean, Seattle was seen as a contender every single year. They have not been that. They have not been that for a minute. And as a result, every single offseason for the last couple years has been a question of whether or not they're restarting, whether or not they're rebuilding, whether or not they're going to start over and tear it down. John Schneider, unsurprisingly, has never looked at it that way.
It's very similar to when we came in here in 2010 when Pete and I came in here together. It's very much a ongoing, everyday, how do we improve? We've never looked at this team building deal here in Seattle as like a restart or a reboot or whatever, whatever people call it, like a rebuilding deal. It's always been like every single day, what are the steps we're taking? What kind of acquisitions are we stacking together? What kind of player development is going on and the teaching and all that. So it's never been like, like the big reset. And with Mike and his staff, we haven't felt that either.
Bump, not only do I not think they need to totally tear it down and rebuild, I also think it is much harder to do that in the NFL than people think.
Yeah, it is. And that's not how guys are wired in the NFL.
No.
That's not, Brian Flores didn't take $100K a loss in Miami because he's not wired that way. There is no leader in the NFL, if you are a GM, a head coach, a coordinator, that you go out there and say, you know what, we're just going to throw in the towel. There's too much pride out there on the line, and it's dangerous, honestly. If you put a garbage product out there, guys are going to get hurt. The teams that are losing 10, 11 games a year, I guarantee you, they are not doing that on purpose. I've just never met a football mind that is wired that way.
Nor have I.
Baseball, it's a bit different. There's so many games. It's less impactful on the body. There's analytics. There's so many different ways to go at building a baseball team. In football, man, I just don't see it. I don't think it was ever a rebuild or reset for him. But for us, we saw it that way because you mentioned Russell Wilson is gone. Bobby Wagner's gone. When you have guys on your team, when you have the success that the Seahawks had for 10-plus years, and there are names that you know you're going to see every single Sunday, and all of those guys are gone, mentally you're looking at this team like, who is this? It is a reboot. It is a rebuild to us. But for them, they're still in the fight. It's just a new year with new challenges and new acquisitions. For me, it was a reboot. I'd give it that for sure.
Well, yeah, and for you, you're with Mora, and it's a 4-win team, and it's a little bit different. But you look at a new head coach coming in. Two things that did happen, right? After your year, a new head coach came in. We have a new head coach coming in this year. The most important thing for Mike Macdonald, is it to ensure he gets his players to buy in, that he builds a culture, that he proves that he's got something special here, or is it to get a top 5 pick? Which hurts him less? Building the first option, building a culture, getting guys to buy in. You aren't promised a trip to the playoffs with that route. And I know that you could be listening and you could be thinking, but if you get a top 5 pick, maybe you get your quarterback and then maybe you win after. Well, what damage has already been done to get there? The road that gets you to a top 5 pick is not a fun one to travel.
Nah, it ain't. And mentally it hurts you. Physically it hurts you. And it puts your job at risk, honestly. You go out there, and with this talent, right, that's on this team right now, if Mike McDonald were to go out there and win 4 or 5 games, they're looking at him different. If Mike McDonald goes out there and seems like he has no control of this team, he has no philosophy, it's gonna hurt his relationship a bit with John. Now, granted, it's his first year; he's gonna have some time. I don't think the Hawks are gonna move like they did when they give Jim Moore 1 year, or the way the Panthers did Frank Reich when he was fired after 11 games. But he's laying the foundation, but while you lay the foundation, you can still win some ball games because you got a roster. McDonald's not walking into a situation like in Carolina. He's not. He's walking into a situation where you have a veteran quarterback. You have receivers on the outside. You got 2 dogs in the backfield. You have 2 Pro Bowl caliber type of corners. This ain't a what do you call it, a startup? You know what I mean? This business has been rolling for a while, but it's up to him to enhance it. The foundation is kind of already there, honestly, because he's taken what Pete Carroll has done and he's making it his own, but it's not like he's starting from scratch. Yeah, they're here to win ball games, man, and I think they have a good opportunity to do that. Do I expect them to win the division? No. Do I expect them to win 12, 13 games? No. I expect them to do what they've done every single year, whether you like it or not, which is be competitive. 9 games. I know people hated 9 games. You snuck into the playoffs. Okay, you were competitive. That's all you can ask for. I was talking to Jackson. What's his last name? Cigar Thoughts. Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Bevins, yeah. And he said it perfectly. It was like a year ago. I think he says, look, man, you have an opportunity to win, to be happy 10 times a year with your squad. Yeah. You're going to take those 10 times, man, because a lot of teams are happy 2 or 3 times, 4 or 5 times.
That's it, and that's it.
It's just so hard to win in this league. So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. That's my rant. It just felt good.
I am so, as you were talking, I just kept getting like sitting up straighter and straighter in my chair because one of my biggest pet peeves, I've actually talked with Jackson about this as well. Cigar Thoughts is a great podcast. Highly recommend. And he might have even mentioned when I was talking to him that you and him kind of got fired up about it. The idea of tanking in the NFL and the idea of what you're willing to win with. And I think that for some people, they go, I don't even want it unless I know I can get to a Super Bowl. How boring is that? You don't even want to put hope in your team. You don't even want to be all in on your team unless they look like a team that can win 12, 13 plus games. Well, guess what? Those teams don't always win a Super Bowl, don't always get to a Super Bowl, and sometimes the teams that fare much worse are the ones that actually go all the way and win it all. I'm looking at the wild card Giants. I'm looking at the wild card Ravens. I know that those are the rarity or the exception as opposed to the rule, but still, what a horrible way to look at winning in general. I only want to win if I know I can win it all. How about you go get your lotto ticket and see if you can play it and see if you get in and see if you get lucky?
Man, you got to enjoy that journey.
Truly.
You know what I'm saying? You didn't enjoy the 37-31 overtime win last year. You didn't enjoy the 20-17 Monday Night Football win. You got to enjoy the journey, man. Nothing in football is guaranteed. If things were guaranteed in football, the best quarterback would win a Super Bowl every single year.
Yes.
And that just doesn't happen. Granted, Tom Brady did his thing and won 7 of them things, and Pat Mahomes is doing it, but nothing is guaranteed in this league in any sport. So yeah, if you are in it, if you are only invested when you think you can win it all, then I feel bad for you because you're going to miss a lot of great moments and performances along the way.
How you've said it before, I'm echoing you, and I don't mean to get repetitive, but you made a perfect point. That's not how it works in football for the minds that are in football. With football players, with football GMs, there's a type of person that succeeds, that gets to this level, and they are a competitive person. Also, there's no equivalent to what the Orioles did in baseball in football. There is no equivalent to we're going to tank, and then we're going to rack up all these early round picks, and then we're going to hit on all of them. That's just not something that really happens in football. It truly doesn't. Do you think that the Kansas City Chiefs found success right now because they tanked? No. They actually were pretty competitive. Obviously not. For 50 years, they went without getting to a Super Bowl and winning one. But
before Pat Mahomes, they were still competitive.
They were still competitive. They had Alex Smith. They were racking up all these great picks. They were racking up great moves. And then they hit on Patrick Mahomes, and it took them to another level. You look at a team like the Bengals that were really struggling, were bringing in big talent. Finally, they find their quarterback, and it takes them to another level. And I know that there is someone listening that says, well, we're not going to succeed until we find the quarterback. Okay, but what are you willing to risk to go 0-17? Culture, buy-in, happiness, fan excitement? You want to spend $500 taking your family to a game or more and then lose 32-0 to the Cardinals? Is that what you want? Be my guest, but I can guarantee you that Cardinals fans would be looking at you going, why are you complaining? You don't know how many times you guys have kept us out of the playoffs?
Yeah, you got me stuck right now because
we can stay here.
We were talking about you're talking about the Chiefs' history 50 years before, right? Along the way, they had Priest Holmes. They had Tony Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
They had not Dante Hall, or Hall, the joystick.
Yeah.
Right? You had Joe Montana play for y'all for a little bit. The Bengals. You had Chad Johnson. You got Who's Your Mama over there. You had Carson Palmer. Like, T.O. play for them. Like, even though you don't have the success, there's still great players and great moments that roll through, and they still give you some type of joy. At the end of the day, there's only one team that's happy at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Niners is prolonged devastation last year. They got to the big dance and couldn't get it done, but it was fun along the way. It's all perspective, though, man. And some people really, really take a football season or a season and only look for the extreme success. And it's great to go into a season with expectations. You're 0-0 and everyone has a chance. As the season starts to dwindle down, you kind of figure out who your team is, and I think your expectations should change. If you are just in it just to win it, it's going to be miserable for you because well, we know about misery here. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Mariners ain't never been to a World Series.
No.
But it doesn't mean through 162 we're not going to find moments where a guy like Bliss lays down a bunt and he gets on and steals a base, or Julio goes yard. You know, it's just I just feel for the people who live their sports lives that way.
I completely reject the proposal, too, that wanting to approach sports in a way that's like, win and try to get in is in any way settling for mediocrity. I would not call the Seahawks a mediocre franchise. They are one of the winningest franchises over the last 10 years. I think that where they are is in this weird kind of limbo that many NFL teams have found themselves, some for decades at a time, which is you don't have this top 5 franchise passer. You also have a whole phase of your ball, in this case the defense, where they've really got to figure it out. Well, you got a new head coach coming in. You had a number 16 overall pick the year after you had a number 5 pick, the year after you had a number 9 overall pick. Let's see if those help you, right? Like, you've got pieces that you're working on to try to get better. This is what rebuilding truly looks like in the NFL. It does not look like tanking so that you can get number 1 and go get Shadur Sanders to lead you to the promised land.
Nah, and it takes more than one player in the NFL for your team to get to the mountaintop. We saw that this year, how that Chiefs defense has carried Kansas City until you get into the playoffs and Pat Mahomes does his thing. This ain't basketball. You're not going to get Wembanyama from France and he's going to change your whole franchise. No, it takes 10 to 15 really good players for your team to have the success that everyone hopes for, which is to raise the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the day.
Well, so, you want to talk about racking up first-round picks. You want to talk about the teams that have had the most first-round picks over the last 10 years. You start looking at maybe the Commanders. You start looking at the Browns. You start looking at the Bears. I know that all three are in these really interesting quarterback situations right now who have these nice rookies that they're looking at, but have any of those teams found success as a pure result of having high first-round picks?
Nah.
No. They have not.
And the Bears ain't this year neither.
No. Again.
They calling me a hater on X because I don't believe Caleb's going to – I think Caleb's going to be – I think he's going to be good. But I also think that you're not playing against 20-year-olds, man. This is a different game in the NFL.
Yeah, I just – again, like – there are many ways to find success. I truly don't think one of them is tanking in the NFL. I just don't think that is a realistic thing that happens. This isn't Madden. This isn't fantasy football. This isn't, the Baltimore Orioles and MLB. This is a different world, and you cannot do that without sacrificing more than you end up actually gaining.
Yep.
And I love how many people texted in, like, would all those people like to give up the Beastquake? Would all those people like? I know that they clearly didn't win a Super Bowl that year. That moment
that was fun.
Has like a picture at Lumen Field.
Yeah.
You don't want to give up those moments. We obviously ended up blowing through headline rewrites, so let's stay on some of the Schneider sound because, Bump, I have some more. let's talk about Sam Howell. Bump, I had someone text in. The Chiefs didn't get great until they benched the mediocre quarterback. I would not call Alex Smith mediocre. And put in the young guy, just saying. That seems to be popular sentiment when it comes
Alex
to
Smith
Geno
was
and
a
Sam.
Pro Bowler with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I digress.
Yeah.
John Schneider, what they liked about Sam Howell before the trade.
Really like Sam's upside a lot. He started 18 games and he's been a productive player in this league. And we like his toughness and his swag. And he's got a really cool leadership style about him as well. Quiet and strong.
I'm going to combine it with this one. It's when they knew that they had to pivot to trade for Howell.
We were going through the board and we were kind of like, wow, there's a situation where 6 of these quarterbacks could go before we pick. And Drew had moved on. Drew Lock, great guy, moved on to go with the Giants, and it was at that point where we decided to get real aggressive with the Redskins and working with Adam Peters and that group to try to acquire Sam. And we knew we were competing with other teams. And Sam had a great game against us last year. He's an impressive guy, works his tail off, and obviously Geno's done a great job as well. So we really like the two of these guys.
It is very clear how much they believe in Sam. I don't think this is him shouting from the rooftop, Sam is the future, but it's him saying, we knew we wouldn't get one of these young quarterbacks, and we wanted to develop a young quarterback and see what we could do.
You know what would have been crazy if Michael Penix did fall to 16 and already picked up Sam Howell. That would have been nuts, but good for John. He predicted it correctly. He felt like all those guys are going to be gone, so what do? You go and get a guy. It's like the best of both worlds because you got a guy who's young, who has film, and you got him for, a third-round pick. And I don't think John is just going to go out there and grab any old quarterback. He spent a third-round pick because he believes that Sam Howell can play in this league. So he has a great insurance policy, man. I think I've been impressed, the last couple of years, the way the Seahawks have attacked the draft, man. It's like every move that they've made complete sense. Even though I wanted Jalen Carter so bad. I wanted him on the squad, right? But he has some issues going on. You go ahead and get Devin Witherspoon, and this guy's a Pro Bowler. He was a Pro Bowler, right? Yeah, he's at the Pro Bowl. Yeah, a Pro Bowler and candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. John Schneider has done a great job of setting this team up. It's almost like he was preparing for a Mike McDonald, right? The last couple of years to say, look, I'm going to get all these young pieces. Pete's almost on his way out. We're going to hit that reset button. At least not to him, it's reset because he's in it every year. But to us, it looked like you hit that reset button and you got a whole bunch of fresh talent. Now, what's the last piece? The last piece is figuring out, can Geno take you to the playoffs and make a run at the Super Bowl? Is Sam Howell going to be that guy, or do you have to go and get a veteran? Because I don't think they're going to be bad enough to have another top 15 or 12 pick and go ahead and get a quarterback. And I asked you, I go, wouldn't it be crazy if now I'm starting rumors and drama right now, okay?
Do it.
All right? Wouldn't it be crazy if Michael Penix wins the job over there in ATL, Kirk Cousins wants out of there, and then the next year and maybe Geno doesn't work out, maybe he does, but you got a Kirk Cousins who wants to get out of there. Do you go and take a strong look at that dude?
Yeah, I do. Would you, flipping it, if I were to ask you right now, you don't know the season that Geno's going to have. You don't know the season Sam Howell's going to have. You don't know what Kirk is going to look like. But if you knew that Kirk would be available in 2025, and I had to ask you right now, do you go for Kirk? Would you?
Yes.
Because I said yes.
Yep, definitely.
It's just such an interesting quarterback situation. There's what we all want is to draft a quarterback that you can have on a rookie deal that is a star.
Mm-hmm.
You are in an interesting spot as a franchise where it's not immediately obvious you're going to have that draft capital, nor that guy will be there in a weak quarterback class. So I want everyone shouting, no, go find your Patrick Mahomes, to know that no one finds their Patrick Mahomes. But also that the Seahawks are going to be in a weird place for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They just are. I fundamentally believe they are. Maybe they find something special with Sam Howell. Maybe Geno takes off, but I just think they're going to have a creative approach to quarterback for a minute.
Yeah, it's going to be the next 3 to 4 years are going to be interesting at that spot.
Yeah, but let's see what else you can develop with this team, because sometimes you can make a really special squad around that guy while you have question marks there. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Bump, earlier you asked me, hey, what's a team? Do you know the one team that hasn't won a playoff game in 24 years? And I said, yes, the Dolphins. And you were like, wow, that's really impressive. And I almost didn't say anything. I wanted to let it sit there so that I would look really smart. But the reason I knew is because Mike McDaniel is doing something really cool in Miami. That's next.
Seattle Sports is your exclusive home for Mariners baseball.
Leaps up and he makes the catch.
Every strikeout.
Swing and a miss. Ryan Wu says, "Can you touch this?" And he just overpowers Aaron Judge.
Every home run.
It's going back. Go on a grand slam for J.P. Crawford.
Every Mariners win.
A 2-2 on the way, swing and a miss, strike three, and the ball game is over.
Stream every game at SeattleSports.com or on the Seattle Sports app. We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Do you have a car you're thinking of selling? You want to get the most money for it, but you probably don't want to deal with the hassle of selling it yourself because that's annoying. Meeting someone in some store parking lot after work, letting them test drive your car, and then taking forever negotiating on a price? No, thank you. So here's why you should sell your car to my friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They have a program that pays you top dollar for your vehicle up front, but it gets even better after. Because when Wayscar Ford resells your old car, they split the profit 50-50 with you. Why? The money they save on auction buy fees, transportation costs, and travel expenses allows them to offer this. They'd much rather split that money with you, the customer, rather than outside services. But are they going to offer you less? No. In fact, they encourage you to shop and compare. But in virtually every case, Wayscar Ford's been able to match or beat competitor offers. So if you're looking to sell your car, make sure you do it at Wayscar Ford in Auburn and get paid twice for it.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Do you have unfiled tax returns or being threatened by the IRS that your wages are about to be garnished or bank accounts are going to be levied? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has professionals ready to fight for you. Their enrolled agents, tax attorneys, and CPAs have saved millions of dollars for taxpayers just like you. They won't just resolve your tax problems. They'll most importantly protect your wages, bank accounts, and all your assets from being taken by the IRS. Call for a free consultation. 800-230-5174. 800-230-5174. Or go to alliestaxrelief.com.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Key here is employee satisfaction. There is no expectation for customer satisfaction if the people that work with us don't feel taken care of and supported and loved. I'm proud of the Lee Johnson Auto family. I'm proud of our stores. And I need everybody to share in that mindset because it makes a better experience for the customer. It also makes it a better place to work. Walking away from an interaction with a customer that says, I can't believe how easy this was. I can't thank you enough for helping me. Receiving a handwritten letter that's personalized to a salesperson or service advisor or a technician expressing gratitude, and then taking that home and sharing that with your family and hanging that on your refrigerator, that's the difference.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Hey, it's Shannon O'Kelly, President and CEO of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy, inviting you to come to work for IRG. With just over 40 locations in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, you have the opportunity to work in the city and place you want with a great team, a great atmosphere, and great mentorship.
Shannon, what type of staff are you looking to hire? Is it just clinical staff right now?
We are looking to hire not only physical therapists, but also occupational therapists, exercise techs, athletic trainers, front office coordinators. We have a whole platform of different services we provide to the community.
over 40 clinics in the Pacific Northwest. There are openings across the whole company. Head over to irgpt.com/careers and apply today. But Shannon, will they have any fun coming to work at IRG?
Oh my gosh, Brock, that's what it's all about. We want to have fun. We're all about passion. We're all about positivity. We want people to change lives. That's what we're doing here at IRG. We're changing lives, not only of our employees, our patients, and our communities. We want you to be your best self.
So head over to irgpt.com/careers, irgpt.com/careers, and apply today.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Last year's RV trip, we met a couple with the same bumper sticker. What are the odds?
Your cousin isn't a good storyteller.
He was a podiatrist, or was it a pharmacist? You don't say. Oh, I can't remember.
But she owns an RV protected by Progressive, and you don't. So until you get your own RV, her stories are the most interesting stories you've ever heard.
Wow, interesting.
And when you do get your own RV, save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive.
Oh, anesthesiologist. He was an anesthesiologist.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Someone texted in an interesting question. I'm going to bring the conversation we just had on air because I thought it was interesting. They said, when Mike McDonald was watching the Seahawks as defensive coordinator of the Ravens, what do you think his opinion was of Geno Smith and the Seahawks offense? My immediate response was probably not great. I don't know that he thinks Geno's like my guy long term. I think he has respect for Geno. I think any defensive coordinator does. What I really am more interested, though, in is did it not feel in watching that game like Baltimore knew what Seattle was going to do before they do it?
I guarantee you there were times where it's 2nd and 7 and McDonald goes, this is what they're going to do. And they line up and he goes, boom, we got him. I think he looked at Geno and saw the talent, but he knew we can overwhelm the heck out of this offensive line. And that's exactly what they did. So, yeah, he felt good right after maybe the second series.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, how many series do you think before Mike McDonald was like, yeah, we got this one, boys. We got it.
Yeah.
Get backups, get ready for some playing time. All right, we are heading to Miami. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel shared an odd motivational tactic he's been using with his players to break their 24-year playoff win drought.
You know, you're trying to have staff meetings at different times during the day, and I had every staff meeting I put like at 7:24 or 3:24 or 5:24, like the number 24. Okay, to you guys it means nothing. That's how many years it's been since the organization's won a playoff game. We are going to hear about that come playoff time. You think? So to me, you do that to empower guys to know what's coming, to understand it, to not run from it. Because if you're going to achieve success where people are predicting failure, you're going to have to go above and beyond.
Hear me out. I actually really like this approach.
No, I like it too.
Right? Why do you like it?
It's just being real, you know, and that's what I appreciate about McDaniel. Here's the thing that I'm worried about. All that talent over there. You're winning regular season games. Do these guys become the Dallas Cowboys to where they get into the playoffs and just can't get it done? And how long does Miami give McDaniel if that goes down? You just signed Waddle. You got Tyreek Hill. You got Tua over there. Your defense is looking good. Ramsey. They better start winning some playoffs games this year or they're going to start looking at them different.
What's more inexcusable? Not winning more playoff games with Dallas's roster or not winning more with Miami's roster?
I think Miami is shifting
to where that's the answer pretty soon?
That's the answer, yeah.
Because right now, last year I would have said Dallas, even though Miami. But Dallas actually had more points per game than Miami, and Miami was dominating there through most of the season, and then Dallas kind of leapfrogged them a little bit, and all of a sudden...
Miami started off hot and then simmered down a little bit.
I also really, really like it because one thing that I was really touched by Mitch Haniger's Players Tribune article prior to the Mariners breaking the drought was the ownership that a player who's not from here, who did not grow up watching this team, who did not grow up being a huge fan of the Mariners, the ownership that he took over it. And I think one way to make players who aren't from that area, at least not all of them, some of them are from Florida, take ownership over something that Miami fans feel is to have them know about it, right? Like to drill into their minds. Like I would not be surprised if there were at one point players on either the Mariners or the Dolphins or any number, like maybe on the Jets, who don't know the exact number of years it's been that a team's been struggling, right?
That's the tough part about the NFL because it's a business. So you're getting guys who work for you, right, to buy into the history and have some pride behind an organization, where most of those guys are going to be gone next year or within the next couple of years. So finding a way to get them to own it, I think, is special. And I think there's only a few coaches who are able to do that.
I agree. I can't help but make the Mariners comparison. When Cal hit that pinch hit home run, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm in awe of this moment because it's a home run and that's cool. The reason that he was rounding the bases with that look on his face is understanding the weight of what just happened. And we were all in the clubhouse after that. They were losing their minds, celebrating. Like, those players took that on. That was theirs. If you would have asked any player, how long's it been, they would have known.
You know what was great about that? There are, obviously I have my Laker moments. I have Kobe hitting the jumper at the elbow against the Suns to win it. That is like top 5 for me, man. And I've seen a lot of great moments, man. That is top 5.
When he rounds initially from first and goes to second, has a little tiny expletive. That's my favorite moment.
Yeah.
Moving on. Oh, by the way, Miami's last playoff win came against the team.
AFC, Denver.
Seahawks.
Really?
Kind of close. Kind of close. In a 2000 wild card round.
I was like kind of close.
Because were they in 2000 AFC West at that point?
Okay. All right.
It was the last win of Dan Marino's career.
It was also the Heward Bowl. Damon was the backup quarterback for Miami, and Brock was backing up, I think, Warren Moon at the time.
Broccoli Heward. Good news for
John Kitna.
you, Bump, and Curtis. EA Sports will announce this year's Madden cover athlete on Tuesday, June 11th. Congratulations to gamers everywhere.
It better be Christian McCaffrey. Has he had it? Has he been on it?
He's never been on the cover.
Oh,
Justin Jefferson's never been on the cover.
I'm going McCaffrey.
People out there that are trying to. There are people out there thinking the NFL's trying to capitalize on Travis Kelce, maybe make him the cover.
But he wouldn't deserve to be the cover. No,
he's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely not. Okay, so Madden
he's one of the most popular players
Madden
in the
cover
game.
predictions: Travis Kelce, Brock Purdy, Christian
Brock Purdy,
McCaffrey,
gross.
Patrick Mahomes. Boring, no offense. Best player in football right now, but boring.
Twice.
You've got Lamar, MVP from this past season.
Lamar's been on
He's
it
got it
before.
already.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's Christian McCaffrey, man.
Joe Burrow.
I can see Joey.
If it
He
is,
played what, 10 games last year? 8 games?
if it's Travis Kelce, that's white privilege. No, I'm just kidding.
If it's Travis Kelce, you're going to have Swifties buying it just to buy it. Not
I
even
wouldn't
play
be.
it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they might be
That's
looking at the
why
money
you put
of
him
it.
on there, because you're going to make a ton of money.
Marketing genius.
I get that he won a Super Bowl. He was on the winning team of the Super Bowl. Was he the best player on either of those two teams? Absolutely not.
Nah, he might have been the second best player, though. Second or third.
I'm being a hater.
He's a
I just
future
don't.
Hall of Famer.
It absolutely is. Absolutely. I just don't know that he would deserve it over Christian
Is he
McCaffrey.
the best tight end of all time?
He's probably top 3.
Numbers say that he might be.
What's
Where
wild is
would
that
you
the
have
Chiefs
Gonzalez?
might have 2 of the top 3 all time. Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, I would have. I guess I
probably
would have
Gronk.
automatically gone with him. Gronk in terms of postseason accomplishments. And
Was
Gronk
pretty
and,
good in the regular season,
like it
too.
or not, Jimmy Graham really redefined that position in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not, those two were doing things that we didn't realize tight ends could do. And you had kind of seen it before, but to have 2 of them pushing and surpassing 1,000 yards was different.
So Tony Gonzalez has 15,000 yards, 111 touchdowns. Rob Gronkowski has 9,000 with 92 touchdowns, and Travis Kelce has 11,000 with 74. I mean, he could pass him in yards. The touchdown is going to be tough.
Man, we should make a donut bet on who's going to be on the cover. Tuesday, June 11th is when we're going to
Christian
find out.
McCaffrey, that's my bet.
The NFL is currently facing a $21 billion antitrust lawsuit. This is over the price of their NFL Sunday ticket package. So this is kind of a confusing thing that's happening. I'll try to break it down, but I don't fully understand it entirely. Basically, the NFL made Sunday Ticket for a Minute available only through a DirecTV package. So that's not currently how it is, but the lawsuit is based on a way to access Sunday Ticket that used to exist. So the lawsuit is obviously it's taken like 10 years to go through litigation. So this is based on through DirecTV stuff. The argument is it's violating antitrust laws because all of these teams are agreeing together to stifle competition and to group together and make their Sunday ticket product available only through this really high-priced method, which is this really high-tier package on DirecTV. Again, it's changed now, but that used to be how it was. I can't believe I'm saying this, and shame on me. I kind of side with the NFL on this one.
Why, with them being able to do exactly what they want with their games? Like
Yes.
how to find them?
Yes. So I can't tell if by the letter of the law, which would be the Sherman Act, it actually violates antitrust law. I'm not a lawyer. Wanted to be when I was in college, but I'm not a lawyer. I don't know enough about it to know whether or not it truly violated the law. As far as the product itself and accessibility of the product, I find that the NFL games are the easiest to access product for local viewers. No matter what, you have basic cable or access to a bar, you can watch the Seahawks play every Sunday. Now, once you get into being out of market and you start looking at Sunday Ticket or Red Zone or all those other premium packages, well, yeah, it does become very expensive. But part of the NFL making their teams kind of more readily available is that they all are part of this same media agreement. They don't sell their stuff separately. The Cowboys aren't selling their services separately to Amazon Prime, and the Jets are selling their services privately to NBC. Like, that's not how it works. And I appreciate that, because I don't like that that's how it is with baseball.
Yeah. Yep. What she
So,
said.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I got to side with the NFL here, and I think I'm in the wrong. Shame on me for not being siding with hashtag the man. But I can't. Next up, Chiefs 2023 draft pick defensive end B.J. Thompson is awake and responsive. Great news. After suffering a seizure and cardiac arrest at Thursday's OTA, the team canceled practice immediately following Thompson's collapse.
Glad he's all right, man.
Oh, God,
Speedy
thank God.
recovery, bro.
Yeah,
That's
no
scary.
kidding. Finally, I'll throw this one in here because it's a really interesting name and a former first-round pick. N'Keal Harry looking to switch from wide receiver to tight end with the Vikings.
How big is my man?
Not a big dude that I remember.
He's
Or
with the
was he pretty
Vikings right
tall?
now?
Yeah.
All right,
He's with the Vikings, so this is to kind of keep his career going.
I don't even see him on the roster right now.
I don't know, man. I just think that's
Better
such
put some weight on, brother.
It's a wild switch. All right, Yahoo Sports' Jordan Schusterman joining us at 1 p.m. to talk Mariners. We cannot wait for that conversation. Before we get to it, 2 trade deadline truths. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Julio off of Mason Miller, dear Lord.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
That is some kind of home run. Coming off a guy who has just been unhittable all year long, 102 miles an hour, and he got that almost in on the hands and was just so unbelievably strong that he turned what looked like a pop-up off the bat into a mammoth blast.
Gary
in a
Hill
hard park to hit in.
Tweeted that it was the 3rd fastest pitch hit for a home run in the StatCast era.
Wow, I believe it.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Chelsea Handler, Little Big B.
I say I don't want to be a mother, but I wouldn't mind being like a divorced dad, you know? I could crush that role, coming in hot at like 50% all the time.
August 1st, 8 p.m., Muckleshoot Event Center. On sale now at muckleshootcasino.com/entertainment for tickets. Chelsea Handler, live.
Or a stepfather. That's another role I would crush.
Winning takes teamwork. At Optum Care Washington, our connected primary and specialty care teams focus on you. If an injury benches you, your doctor will partner with a podiatrist, orthopedist, sports medicine, or spine specialist to get you back in the game. And if you need surgery, Optum has your bases covered too. With board-certified doctors trained in over 55 specialties, Optum is here to assemble the right team around you. Discover winning primary and specialty care at yourhealthwa.com.
Matt Coker here from West Coast Men's Health. Guys, if you're taking Viagra or any other pill for ED, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I want to continue to do this for the rest of my life? If you're like most men, the answer is no. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we can restore blood flow naturally without pumping your body full of chemicals like you've been doing. Guys, you need to come in today and fix this problem now. Why are you putting this off? Viagra's not going to magically start working next week, and you don't want to use shots or go under the knife. Call us today and speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today like the thousands of men who already have. If you're tired of dealing with ED or Peyronie's disease, then call West Coast Men's Health.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD from Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Dr. Wagner is hosting a free stem cell webinar Tuesday, June 11th to explain stem cell therapy.
I'm really looking forward to this live webinar to educate on how using your own stem cells can be an extremely successful method to help regenerate native tissue in rotator cuffs, meniscus tears, and reduce pain in osteoarthritic joints.
And which joints have you seen good success with?
Shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, even wrists and ankles. And in this live webinar, we'll tell you all about the procedure, how simple and safe it is using your own stem cells, and how we determine if you're a candidate.
Dr. Wagner has performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Are you in pain? Join him Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. for the free stem cell webinar and learn all about this amazing procedure. Register now at drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
One 877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Lexus is electrified, and the first ever RZ450E has the performance and range to get you where you need to go with the exclusive Lexus Direct 4 all-wheel drive technology. Lexus of Bellevue has over 50 RZs available for immediate delivery with electrifying savings up to $17,000 lease cash on every RZ450E. Visit lexusofbellevue.com.
on approval of credit through LFS. Lease cash from Lexus available on select 2024 RZ styles. Must take delivery by July 1st, 2024. A documentary service fee up to $200 may be added to the purchase price or capitalized costs. See dealership for details.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here. I recently met with Anthony, the owner of Asset Roofing, to talk about a metal roof which can last twice as long as ordinary shingles. Asset Roofing is seeing a huge push in the market for metal roofing. They create each metal roof at their headquarters, custom to each job, and that allows them to offer metal roofs with up to a 30% discount over their competitors. Check them out at assetroofingco.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Yahoo Sports' Jordan Schusterman joining us in 15 minutes. We're going to talk about the Mariners, a little bit of the trade deadline. Before we get to the trade deadline bump, I wrote about 2 trade truths, and I know you agree with both of me on these. So at the risk of saying, well, maybe you don't, but something tells me that you will. Let's see. My first one is the most obvious one. The other day, I was listening to Brock and Saul. Brock's out this week, so is Mike. And he was taking calls on what people would like to trade for when it came to the Seattle Mariners. And my favorite call was someone who said, I guess I would take Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez.
Oh yeah, me too.
Slugger from the Astros.
Me too.
I guess I would date Margot Robbie. That he would take. He would take Alvarez, and what he would give up in a trade, maybe some cash. My number one rule: you can't deal trash for treasure.
Nah.
You cannot deal trash
one
for
man's
treasure.
trash is another man's treasure.
Very true, which is kind of like our second rule.
Mhm.
Before we get to it, though, there are general managers who know exactly what you have on your team. You are not going to be able to call someone and trick them and tell them Dom Canzone is hitting 400 with 15 home runs. He has access to stats. They have access to scouts. They know exactly what you have on your team. So you cannot send your fourth outfielder who's 0 for 40 and maybe some cash for a superstar.
Nah, you got to give up a whole bunch.
You got to give up a bunch.
You're gonna give up one of your arms. You're gonna have to give up a
one
prospect.
of your legs.
Well played. Well played. One of the arms in your starting rotation. You're gonna have to give up a young prospect. They have to feel like the future is bright because they're giving up. They would give up a big part of their future. So, no, it doesn't work like that, man. That team has to walk away feeling like they could play a game tomorrow and not skip a beat.
The trades that get you the most are ones where, as a fan, you probably are worried your team gave up too much.
Yeah.
An example with the Mariners would obviously be that trade for Luis Castillo. You got a starter. It was a huge deal. You brought in an ace, but to do it, you had to send your number 1 and number 3 prospects. So if and when the Mariners do make a deal this July, there's probably going to be a population of fans, maybe myself included, who wonder if they gave up too much, and that's okay. They might have. Another trade you think of, the Seahawks. They brought in Jamal Adams, and I know it feels so silly, but at the time, we all really thought, well, God, what if he's like a Swiss Army knife for this defense? What if this is what you've been missing? You've been desperately trying to get that secondary right. At the time, you were probably also fair in thinking they gave up too much. That's how real big swings work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power put into that swing.
It's risk. Both teams are risking, right? And you have to feel like, and here, you know what's tough is my sons, they play fantasy football, and there was like, Dad, who won this trade? And I go, in a perfect world, both teams win because they're giving up something in return. They feel like they're going to be better off in the long run. When trades go down, typically it's one team that needs something right now and one team that says, okay, we need something a little later along down the road. So that's how these things work. It's not, I wish it was as easy as just giving up.
I'll take them.
Some cash and one prospect and we'll get a dominant bat.
Yeah, why don't we send our number 10 prospect and go ahead and get Kyle Tucker, or maybe maybe Luis Robert for like I don't even know, Sebi Zavala.
Yeah, right. Give him Zevi.
Yeah.
Bliss.
Yeah.
Don't ever get rid of Bliss.
Don't give him Bliss. Don't give him Ryan. No, we love Ryan. How dare you? Anyway, so that's truth number 1 of the trade deadline. You cannot deal trash for treasure. And more often than not, if your trade is big, you're probably going to feel like you might have lost it. So let's get to that second part. What makes a trade worth it differs from team to team.
What makes a trade worth it?
Yeah, so this is my truth and the reason that I have it. And you kind of almost naturally went to it in the last one where you were like, well, you were talking about your sons asking if they won this fantasy football trade. And you said, well, ideally, you don't really care if the other team did because you felt like you did what was right for you. And maybe they did win for them. I do wish the Mariners were more aggressive in general. But I think that the context around them matters. This is a club that has never been to a World Series and has one of the best and deepest starting rotations in franchise history. That is unique context to them as a team. They may make a trade that a Yankees fan whose club is in first place and who has all the sluggers in the world looks at and goes, that was too much to give up. But for the Mariners, it was the right deal to make because it mattered to them.
Yeah, it's all about your situation. So if you're the Mariners, you're looking for a bat. And if you are, say, the White Sox, you're looking for everything. So you'll take an arm, you'll take a leg, like you mentioned, you'll take a manager, whatever. It's all about what is important to you. It's the same way we look at the Justin Jefferson thing. Like, oh my God, they paid him how much? 110 million guarantee? Yeah, because he's that important to them. So everyone's situation is different. Here in Seattle, you need a bat. There in Houston, they need arms because everyone's hurt over there. So that's what it is. There's no fair trade. There's no even trade. It's, do you fill a void? did you fill their void? Everyone walks away satisfied, at least in the short term, because now the trade's got to work
1,000%.
out and you got to perform and see what happens.
The example I did for this one is the San Diego Padres did not need to trade for an infielder. They had a lot of great infielders, but they traded for Luis Arraez. They traded for Luis Arraez because they are also a club that is desperate to make the playoffs and make a deep playoff run when they've kind of got all this hype and spent all this money, and they're in a division with the Dodgers, and the Giants came out of nowhere the year before last, and now the Padres are sitting there going, man, we got a lot of pressure on this front office to get something done and make baseball really, really matter here and get a winning club. And so even though they did not need an infielder, they needed to make their team special enough to get to a World Series. That's why they made that trade. The Mariners may make a trade that feels like an overpay right now, but for some fans, maybe for the front office, it feels worth it because they know that they have the arms to get to a World Series, and other clubs might not.
Yeah.
Some other clubs don't.
You can sacrifice a bit because you're so strong in one area. It's like, all right, this area is going to help us out during whether this trade works out or not. The safety cushion is that we're good here.
We got a lot to talk about when it comes to the Mariners, when it comes to the trade deadline. So let's bring on another voice. Yahoo Sports' Jordan Schusterman joins us next.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike three.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
I don't think that it is unrealistic to believe that they have the talent and the ability to win a championship with this team.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Their DNA remains intact. This is a rotation-dependent team.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and if you're looking for a fun night out, well, you know Snoqualmie Casino is just the place to go. Have some fun and unwind. Fall's Buffet is back open. They're serving up all your favorites. You can enjoy prime rib daily, plus fresh pasta, made-to-order stir-fry, and noodles, and pizzas, and salad bar, and dessert bar. They got the pies made every day. And then Vista Prime has amazing happy hour menus, which start at 4 o'clock, and those breathtaking views of the Snoqualmie Valley and Mount Si. You know it's Seattle's closest, only 30 minutes from downtown. It is Snoqualmie Casino.
Calling all drivers. Here's why Polestar 2 is called the driver's EV. With all-electric performance and a range of up to 320 miles per charge, Polestar 2 has the power and handling to change your perceptions of EV driving. But the best way to find out for yourself is a test drive. Visit Polestar Bellevue to test drive Polestar 2 today. 320 mpg range based on model year 24 Polestar 2 long-range single-motor variant and EPA standard. Visit Polestar.com for full details.
These chicken tacos, was the chicken humanely put down? We pet him until he dies.
George Lopez in the All Right Tour. Friday, June 14th, Tacoma's Pantages Theater. Tickets are on sale now at TacomaCityTheaters.org.
It's a Cookies Country Chicken reminder. Dine in, call in, delivery, and cater in. That's right, we cater too. At Cookies, that's real good chicken. And tell them,
make it spicy.
Fresh fried chicken, any way you like it. At Cookies, Ballard, Pioneer Square, cookiescountrychicken.com.
June is Men's Health Month, and we want to place a special emphasis on prostate cancer awareness and treatment. After skin cancers, prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among American men. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked even if you have no symptoms. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish CyberKnife. It's one of the shortest and most effective, requiring only 5 treatment sessions. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
At Shane Company, we'll help you design an engagement ring as unique as your love story. We have the widest selection of diamonds and gemstones for you to choose from, and you can compare them side by side right here in our store. Only at Shane Company can you sift through exquisite diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in a variety of shapes and sizes. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring no matter your price range. Choose the ring setting that speaks to your style, from classic to modern to vintage. We offer so many ways to personalize your ring. Pick your favorite center stone, add a decorative crown and a custom engraving, or select a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, our jewelers know how much your ring means to you. They hand-set each center stone with precision and pride in our jeweler's workshop, so you can feel confident knowing your ring is crafted with the greatest care and comes with an unmatched free lifetime warranty that lets you know we'll always be here for you. Your love story deserves to shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
The Mariners are all about giving you more baseball for your buck. Snag seats for as little as $10 on select dates all season long with Mariners Value Games. Plus, be sure to check out the Mariners Value Menu, available at every game and featuring 11 items priced from $2.50 to $4. Enjoy ballpark classics like hot dogs and peanuts, new treats like churros and chocolate chip cookies, and more. To get your Value Game tickets and check out all the value options at T-Mobile Park, go to mariners.com/value.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Seattle Storm taking on the defending champion Las Vegas Aces tonight. This one in Vegas. Seattle's on a 5-game win streak. They'll get a big test here, though, against Asia Wilson. She's coming off a 36-point game and a win over Dallas on Wednesday. She's averaging 29.9 per game. The Mariners getting a test in a soft spot in the schedule here with a series against the 37-win Kansas City Royals. Talking about this series and the team, plus the trade deadline with Jordan Schusterman joining us in 30 seconds.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
One of our favorites, Yahoo Sports' Jordan Schusterman, joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Jordan, how's it going? We have so much to talk about with you.
We sure do. Good afternoon, guys. Always happy to be on.
We are happy to have you. I'm going to start with some of these arms. Brian Wu coming off another spectacular start last night. I got to say, Jordan, I don't mean to in any way offend Brian, who I'm sure is listening right now, but I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this from him. He's been absolutely stellar in his return. Talk to me a bit about what you've seen from the depth with Seattle's rotation, and particularly Wu.
Man, I mean, we've not that this rotation hasn't gotten plenty of hype. I mean, I wrote a big feature on it at the beginning of the season, and that was right when Wu was injured, right? This was right when we got the news that he was not going to be healthy to start the season, which was a little bit ominous. And, we've seen now for as scary as all these elbow issues have been across the league, there are examples of guys taking the rest that they need and then coming back and managing it properly and pitching extremely well. We're hoping to see that with Garrett Cole. We've seen that with Kyle Bradish in Baltimore. And then Brian Wu has very quietly been one of the most incredible examples of that. I can't say I'm that shocked. I mean, what's really interesting is when you have this many talented pitchers, it's going to always be hard for all of them to get the proper attention. But when you see the numbers that he's given through our first 6 starts, he's doing his best, George Kirby impression. 2 walks in 6 starts is a pretty astonishing rate there. Even though the strikeouts are not necessarily where I'm sure he would like them to be, he's just been unbelievably effective. And it's another reminder of how committed the Mariners were to not trading either him or Bryce Miller this offseason.
Jordan, I'm so glad they didn't, because at the beginning of the season, I go, yeah, I'll give a 1 for a bat. And now I go, nah, don't you dare. You keep this, you keep the band together. But I'm looking at the way this team is playing, and they rely on the arms. I mean, it's like quality start after quality start, but you're only getting a few runs. Have you seen a team kind of built the way that the Mariners are built? Have you seen a team built that way and have massive success once they get into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, right. In theory, this team is, I've said this a few times, more built for October than it is for a regular season stretch where we've already seen it this year, where the starting pitching has been relied on so much to the point where it can carry them for a while. And then when they scuffle, things can get a little bit ugly. Again, it's also interesting when you think about a postseason where you don't even really need 5 starters in the postseason. You need 3, maybe 4. The Mariners are certainly in great position with that. I think what's clear is I'm sure we'll maybe talk about here. That's not a reason to just rest on it and be like, oh, we got this great rotation. We don't need to go get a hitter. I think they're going to have to do something here in the next couple months. But it does just afford you such an incredible cushion where every game you go out there with a really good chance to be in the ball game. And there are very few teams that have that luxury this year.
Just kind of branching off of what Bump asked and tapping into you talking about the sustainability or lack thereof of what they've been doing, because earlier in the show, Jordan, we asked listeners to tell us what they would do if they were Scott Service, since we had so many people saying, I would do this, I would do this. We were like, well, let's open it up. Let us know what you would do. And we had people say, maybe I'd send Julio a little further back in the lineup. Maybe I'd add this guy more. They had their opinions. One person, and granted, totally fair opinion to have, I just disagreed, said, I don't know that I'd do anything. They're in first place. And I find that Mariners fans kind of have to be of two minds, which is grateful and happy you're in first place, but knowing that can't be sustainable. Like, Jordan, there's no part of me that believes that being 26 in OPS or runs is in any way sustainable for a club to remain in first place. Tell me what you think about kind of the way this club has been winning and the sustainability or lack thereof.
I think that's totally fair. And I understand the level of, they have to be doing something, right? I mean, they're 5 games up in the division.
Right.
Clearly, that's a matter of how shockingly disappointing some of their rivals have been. But I think what you're seeing, and again, we can get to some of the trade discussion and some of the comments from John Stanton, what does seem to be the case, and we're waiting to see what that move actually looks like, whether it is for Service on a day-to-day managerial basis, whether that is for the front office in making a move, is they are identifying that this is an opportunity, right? That not just because of the rotation, but because of how much the teams below them are struggling, this is a chance to build on this shocking 5-game lead that you have, despite having one of the most disappointing, not just disappointing, just unproductive offenses in the entire league.
Right.
But when you still have that pitching, this is a chance. This is a window. This is something that you didn't even necessarily expect, right? We've had in recent seasons when they have been winning a good amount, but they've been chasing teams, right? They've been trying to keep up with some of their competition. This is an opportunity to get ahead, to stay ahead, to win a division. And I think all of the rhetoric we've seen around the team right now, from the front office on down, is that willingness to go and push, whether it's bringing Logan Evans up as a reliever in the second half. Like, all of the messaging right now is a level of urgency, which I appreciate, but it is going to be a matter about what is that next move that does happen.
Jordan, on my hour and a half commute into work this morning, I was listening to the morning show, and Salk really went to bat for Service. He says, look, this guy is one of the best managers in the game right now. What role does Service play in the success of this team so far this year? And where do you see his greatness? Like, where does Service show up in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's once again, we're looking at a team that is succeeding very well in close games. And I think you can go to any manager considered good or bad, and you can nitpick and say, oh, what was he thinking in this spot? Oh, what was he thinking with this pinch hit or this? And I've had those moments along the way. However, the thing about any sort of Service discourse that I think is worth to remember is this is one of the longest tenured managers in Major League Baseball. And that isn't an accident, because the degree to which they have succeeded in close games, that can't be just a total fluke, right? This is a multiple years of doing this over and over in a way that several other teams, very, very few other teams, have been able to prove. And so I have to think that it's the combination of, sure, maybe the actual tactician, okay, there's this strategy late in game, but I also think it's just the buy-in and it's just the trust from the players when you have a manager that's been there so long, that's been through the ups and downs of this organization over the last decade. And, obviously there's been a lot of roster turnover, but I think that he clearly has that trust from the players and for the players that come in, even the new faces. And I have to think that contributes to winning a lot of close games. But again, he can only do so much, right? He's still working with the roster that he has. And that's another thing to remember in the cases of criticizing him for certain substitutions or late game moves. It's like, well, this isn't a perfect roster. And there are situations where he doesn't have any necessarily great options in certain situations, whether it is a bullpen move or a pinch hitting move. And so that's another thing to remember when I think we're evaluating him.
All right. God, so much to break down from this next topic. So John Stanton in the Seattle Times, really interesting interview, not just gave his vocal support and backing of the front office in terms of, yeah, I support them and whatever moves they decide to make. Obviously, it was a little more complicated than that. He had some other interesting things to say, but seemingly backs the front office making a move and then says, we expect to win the AL West. That puts a really interesting level of pressure on this team to win, Jordan. And not only that, but it kind of creates a method through which to hold ownership and the front office accountable if they don't make moves. Is this a deadline where you expect to see the Mariners be a little more aggressive than we expect?
I think it is. And I think the second point you made is more important than the first, just because we like to, as media, I mean, I do this all the time. We see it all the time. And when I go to, we like to say, oh, man, there's more pressure on them now because the owner said this, or there's more pressure on them now because this person said this. It's like, no, all these players expect to win the division too, especially in this situation. Now, maybe if you got truth serum and you asked so-and-so in the clubhouse in spring training, do you expect to win the division? It would have been a little bit harder to say that. But right now, with the way that they have been winning, with the cushion that they have and with what they believe they have and that they think they can get better, I think everyone in that room does believe they can win. So I think any added pressure by John Stanton saying this is a little bit, I'm not as concerned about that. However, to your point about the standard that you can't hold them to, that is very much in play from a fan perspective, right? From a level and from a player perspective, because now the players are expecting to add and to go forward. And for how many experiences we've now had at the deadline where we've had the team deciding to go seemingly backwards instead of forwards. Now, some of those moves have clearly worked out better than others. And I think you have to trust that the front office has the bigger picture in mind, no matter what the standings are. I do think that you're exactly right, that now it's a situation of, everyone, as I said before, everyone here is indicating we are pushing forward. We are going for a division title. And that is new. That is a new opportunity. That is something that is very exciting for everybody involved. And now it is on them. I would say it's more of the pressure maybe is on the front office to actually make something happen and on ownership to actually support something along those lines.
Jordan, speaking of them contending for a division title, they're doing this without their superstar playing like a superstar. Stacey and I have had many conversations throughout the week, throughout the season, just what to really do with Julio. I went back and forth with a listener on our text lines. He goes, man, send him down to AAA and make him earn it. And I go, well, you move a bit different with guys like Julio. Is that as ridiculous as I think it is? The suggestion to send Julio down if he don't start hitting?
Yes.
Thank you.
It is a ridiculous suggestion. I would remind everybody that while it was not this bad a year ago, it wasn't great. His OPS was around 700, through June. It was down. It was down to almost to 700, even by, late July. And we understand what he was capable of in that second half that kind of drove them back into that postseason race. And so I view it more as a positive, not as a positive, like, oh, it's great that Julio is struggling, as a, wow, they've made it this far. They have a 5-game lead without Julio getting there. And he's just the kind of talent that I'm just not going to bet against it. And I know he's had some struggles and clearly it's not been at the level, but when you remember what he's still bringing you on defense, what he's still bringing you on the bases, this is still a valuable player. And when you consider that he is hardly the only one in the lineup that is struggling, it's not that he doesn't deserve to be, held to a high standard. It's that he is not my biggest concern when you just look at the offense as a whole and you think about what could be getting better, because Julio is someone that I would still be counting on as being a massive part of this team offensively over the rest of the season.
What is your biggest concern?
All the other hitters.
Yeah, that's fair. Everything else.
I mean, I would say, right, like the Polanco is one where when you think about the additions that they made with Polanco and Garver, where you felt like you knew what you were getting, and even with some of the injury concerns, you felt like there was a floor there that you felt good about adding. I know Polanco in particular, I was like, this is rock solid. That has not been the case. JP, right, another guy who could seemingly elevated his offense last year and has not really been able to replicate that. Certainly some injuries this year. But again, like there's reason to believe that some of that will even out, but it's why fans are rightfully wanting to bring in something external. But we have to remember, no matter what we want, they have to nail that decision. They have to nail that. We can say, oh, it should be Luis Robert. Oh, go after this guy, go after this guy, go after this guy. Unfortunately, it's been a very up and down track record of acquiring hitters, as we've seen, whether it's signing, whether it's trading for them. So there's a lot of pressure on them to get that right, because it's not, it doesn't, if not, you could be in a world of hurt because of, what the price you're paying from a prospect standpoint.
I compared this season and where the Mariners are right now to like a 400-meter race, to where the Mariners, when we just focus on the division, the Mariners are out in front, and they got a nice lead and they're coasting right now. But there's always that one kid who has a kick, man. He rounds that second turn, and he's going. And I'll look at the Astros, and I think of them. And even though the Texans are ahead of them, it's just so hard for me to count the Astros out. What are your thoughts on the division, on the Astros, the Rangers? Like, I don't think the Mariners should be comfortable, but what are the possibilities of the Astros kind of figuring this thing out? Because I can't count them out yet, Jordan. I think some people are.
That's fair. I would say I think Texas honestly probably still has greater upside because of what their offense should still be doing at some point once it is totally healthy, and in theory, the pitchers that they are getting back. Whereas Houston, because of the injuries on the mound, is just scrambling for innings. And while their offense is still very capable of being elite, that is just such a difficult thing that they're having to deal with on a day-to-day basis, because that has an effect that just keeps compounding, keeps making it worse and worse and worse. Oh, this guy goes down. Now this guy's stretched out. Now we're pushing the bullpen to this, and this. But I agree with you. And all that said, I still feel like Houston is the team to be worried about going on a run, just because they have that street cred, right? They understand how to get back in the mix here and do something special. So that's why they should be comfortable. That's also why, especially for Texas, that's another team that if they're even remotely close, they will be aggressive at the deadline as well. That is another team. Do not expect them to be comfortable with their roster. And I would say Houston still follows that as well. It's just they don't have as much to work with from a farm system standpoint in terms of making those trades. But no, I think they should be comfortable. And again, I think that the Mariners know that. And I think that that's why you've heard them say that they are not going to just sit back and hope that everything's going to be okay with the roster they have.
Hey, last question here, Jordan. I'm not going to tell you to come up with an exact trade proposal because it's so hard to predict what this team might do. But what I am curious in is what you think they could still really succeed with. Basically, I ask because I don't know that they need to add two amazing sluggers to be a World Series team. Their pitching is so good. It's like you just want their offense to be average. Like, can you be 15th in runs? You know what I mean? Like, can we shoot for C's, get degrees as an approach to offense?
Oh,
so
100%.
that, that being said, what's maybe the ceiling of what you'd love to see them add, and maybe a kind of move that you think, look, I don't know if this is going to underwhelm people, but I really think they could create a good club by adding this kind of bat.
Yeah, man, I'll be honest, guys. Like, I haven't dug into specific targets too much yet. I think early June is hard for me to
You mean you can't predict trades that are going to happen 2 months out?
Yeah, of course, but I, especially with I mean, again, like we've watched Dipoto make however I've been tracking at 160 plus trades, and it's like half of them you couldn't have even dreamed of, like and so whatever you think you're coming up with, it's probably not actually. The Polanco one was actually the rare example where it was like, oh yeah, that's actually something we've all been talking about. But for the most part, it's stuff that really comes out of nowhere. The other thing that I think that's just going to make this challenging, and this isn't what people want to hear. I was just in Pittsburgh this week for Dodgers and Pirates, and talking to some Dodgers people, right? I mean, this is the Dodgers. They have Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman at the top of their lineup. But their bottom of the lineup is so bad that they also desperately need a hitter. You look, and the Dodgers are looking around, and they're like, I don't know, like, who are we? So you're going to be competing with a lot of teams that are desperately looking for offense. Now, the Dodgers obviously don't rank 27th in OPS because of who they have at the top of the lineup. But when we start thinking about, again, I think back to the Luis Castillo trade. Okay, this is, and I don't know what the hitting equivalent is for this year. If you want to say it's Luis Robert, I hear that. But the point that I want to make is it is going to cost to get an actual impact player. But as we remember with Luis Castillo, the cost that they traded, that day, you go back to how it feels like, whoa, they traded so much. Oh my gosh, this is not that it was bad, but it was like, whoa, that's what it's going to take, because right now there's not a lot of hitters out there, and that price is going to go up. So if the Mariners are going to be as aggressive as they're going to say, it's going to cost some of those young prospects that everyone is getting attached to. I'm just warning everybody. Can't have it both ways. You got to be able to be comfortable taking a big swing here if you have this opportunity to win a division.
He is Yahoo Sports' Jordan Schusterman, kind enough to join us to talk Mariners, talk a little bit about the trade deadline. You can hear more from Jordan on the Baseball Barbie-cast podcast. The latest episode looks at a potential All-Star Game squad and also talks about Juan Soto's injury. Interesting situation happening in New York. I haven't listened yet. It is downloaded to my phone. I'm going to listen later, and you should too. Thanks so much, Jordan.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure.
See ya. Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver
A quick 4 Down territory here.
We're going 3 now.
We're going 3. We're just no, I overthrew DK on that one. Suck it down. First down, 2 teams have not made the playoffs in over 8 seasons. Who are those 2 teams, and which one, if not both, will make the playoffs?
The New York Jets and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos ain't touched the playoffs in since 2015.
Since they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, right.
Imagine that being your walk-off.
They went out on top. Like
We're not
Jordan.
coming back here, guys.
Hey, we got. Hey,
enjoy it. Take a plate.
You need some foil? We got you. Yeah, Denver and the Jets, man. I think the Jets are going to make the playoffs. That offense is on point. On paper, that defense is on point on paper. I think there's more things to figure out in Denver, man. I really hope Bo Nix is a starter at week 1. I want to see all these rookies get an opportunity. I think Michael Penix is going to have to wait a little bit, but he might win that job as well. But yeah, the team who hasn't won a playoff game since the year 2000 is
the Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins against
the Seahawks.
You are smart.
I'm so smart. My brain is so big. Second down. What did Justin Tucker request that made you laugh, and why do you think he should be careful what he asks for?
So there will be more kickoff returns this year because of the new kickoff rules, and some teams are experimenting with the idea that they put just a receiver out there who can kick the football, so you have another tackler out there, or maybe a DB because they tackle, right? Justin Tucker says, nah, keep me in. I want to make those tackles, and I go, bro, man. I appreciate you, man. Tucker, you probably have a really good game when it comes to talking trash. I see the way you be getting at people and just poking at them and annoying them. But I'm also like, my mans, you are 6'1", 188, not big, but not small neither. But you don't do this. You don't tackle, man. You just kick the ball, get out the way unless you absolutely have to make a tackle. That made me laugh a little bit, man. Justin Tucker talks a big game. Not sure if he would be able to back it up. There are some kickers who did their thing back in the day when it comes to making tackles. You got David Akers has 38 tackles. Vinatieri has 38 tackles. Jeff Wilkins has 39 tackles. I get it. He wants to play. He wants to be a ball player, but careful what you wish for because your body don't work like that.
Third down. What's something you cautiously want to tell Gino to take away from Sam Howell's game?
I want you to look at Sam Howell's tape last year, Gino, and I want you to get aggressive like my guy Sam Howell has been. Not too aggressive, though. I don't want you turning the football over constantly, but when you look at Ryan Grubb and his offense and what he did at the University of Washington, Michael Penix would just join the Make-A-Wish Foundation and toss it up to Romaduze at times, and he would come down with the football. You have to push the ball down the field and take some risks early in the season. Now, if those risks are causing turnover after turnover after turnover, then okay, you pump your brakes a little bit. He had 7 games last year where he threw an interception. Sam Howell had 13 games where he threw an interception. Josh Allen led the league when it comes to games on interceptions, 14. I'm just saying, throw that thing down the field. Let's take some chances, and I think Ryan Grubb's drop-back style offense will allow him to do that. Let it go.
Fourth down. Bleacher Report gave their rankings of teams with the strongest and weakest position groups. Anything stand out?
Yeah, you know I have to look at them receivers. And they gave the Bears, very biased, the Bears the #1 receiving group. Now, I think Moore is awesome. 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns last year. Keenan Allen, the OG, 108 receptions, 1,202 touchdowns. But then you got Rome Odunze. I think Rome's going to be great in the league, but he ain't done nothing yet. I just don't understand how all these writers and all these people just crown young men without seeing them take one snap.
We get excited. It's all hype.
It is. And, I think Rome's going to be fine. But in the meantime, you got the Eagles with Brown, Smith, and Parker. You got the Dolphins with Hill, Waddle, and Beckham. You got Texans, who I think have the best group with Diggs, Collins, and Dale. Excuse me. And then someone got mad at me because I did not throw in the Seahawks the first time around. I go, look, man, they got 1,000-yard receiver and two guys who I think have the potential to be one of the best groups. But you know what I don't do? I just don't crown dudes. I want you to show me. I'm not like these average. No, not average. I'm sorry. I'm not like some of these guys.
Say it. Don't say average.
No, I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not like these pedestrian writers who come out with their wide receiver rankings.
I ain't gonna disrespect them like that because they have a method to their madness. They're not just doing this.
No,
I just don't agree with it.
Bump, I like that this is where we are. We only have 30 minutes left of the show. When we started the show, I accused you of hiding being invited to a celebrity golf tournament from Curtis and I, and you said, I'm not like that. I'm an E-lister. I don't matter. And now, 3 hours into the show, almost 4 hours into the show, we've finally gotten you to a place where you go, I'm not average. I'm not like these other losers. I get it.
See, I didn't say all that. But I just don't agree with crowning before we see them get busy on the field.
Quick look around MLB coming up next. A big injury update and a funny moment.
The Dugout. Go in-depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run.
You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open.
Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Dreyer.
We are seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout. Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
You ready for a road trip? Because it's time for the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales Event. Hey, Brock Hewitt here. In this month, the Harnish Auto Family is offering a chance to win a $500 road trip package from Sportco and Outdoor Emporium. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win, no purchase necessary. You'll get an extra entry when you trade in or sell your vehicle. And if you service your vehicle during the event, you'll be entered into a giveaway for a sleek solo stove. Just stop by and take a test drive for your chance to win. HarnishAutoFamily.com. People matter. See dealership for details.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Call today for a free in-home estimate. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Calling all drivers. Here's why Polestar 2 is called the driver's EV. With all-electric performance and a range of up to 320 miles per charge, Polestar 2 has the power and handling to change your perceptions of EV driving. But the best way to find out for yourself is a test drive. Visit Polestar Bellevue to test drive Polestar 2 today. 320 mpg range based on model year 24 Polestar 2 long-range single motor variant and EPA standard. Visit Polestar.com for full details.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. Now, Shannon, I need to ask you if what I've been hearing is true. You don't need a referral, really, to see a physical therapist in the state of Washington?
That's exactly right, Brock. The state of Washington is a state that has what's called direct access. That means that if you get up in the morning, for example, and you hurt your back or did something to your muscles or tendons or joints, you can call a physical therapist directly, and we can get you in that same day and start your care and your recovery process.
How can patients get scheduled with IRG?
Oh, it's easy. You just contact us at irgpt.com. We'll direct you to our concierge service, and we'll take care of all that for you. We handle all the authorization, verification. We want our patients to understand their insurance benefits and what the outcomes are going to be with their visit to IRG Physical and Hand Therapy.
Please, please, please don't let injuries keep you from your passion. Schedule online today at irgpt.com and start the journey back to your best self.
I started Davis Law Group 30 years ago with the goal of bringing the highest quality of legal representation to accident victims. Contact Washington's best personal injury team today at 206-727-4000 or visit us at davislawgroupseattle.com.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. So let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Give props to Jerry and Justin. They did a great job bringing in these good group of guys.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here for Window Nation. If you haven't had a chance to take advantage of their semi-annual sale, you are in luck because they've extended it. Get 50% off all windows with no interest for 5 years and a bonus 10% savings when you schedule an estimate now. If your old windows are costing you too much for AC, that's a big deal. And now during Window Nation's semi-annual sale, you can replace them and save big. This offer ends June 30th, so schedule your in-home estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
For over 111 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington. From the Space Needle in Seattle and now all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist you with any lighting issue, as well as help with intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting expert since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
June is Men's Health Month, and Swedish Cyberknife wants to make a positive difference in the life of someone listening right now. After skin cancers, prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among men. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. Right now, it is estimated that more than 3 million U.S. men are living with prostate cancer. As men increase in age, their risk of developing prostate cancer increases. About 6 in 10 cases are found in men over the age of 65. Men with relatives, fathers, brothers, sons with a history of prostate cancer may be twice as likely to develop the disease. Prostate cancer can be silent. It's important to get checked, even if you have no symptoms. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment at Swedish Cyberknife right here in Seattle. It's one of the shortest, requiring only 5 treatment sessions. Swedish Cyberknife physicians publish a 97% effective rate. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
You are listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
What I need to know coming your way in 15 minutes. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. Any question you have, sports, non-sports, doesn't matter, 866-979-3776. First, some sound to get through as we take a look around baseball. We are going to start with a little bit of a weird injury situation happening with the Yankees. So it sounded all bad news for the Yankees this morning, and I know typically you're like, I don't care about the Yankees. Well, we're looking at all AL teams, okay? And the Yankees are absolutely dominating, probably playing like the best team in baseball right now, if not the second best, up there with the Phillies. Dodgers maybe around 3-4 right now, certainly in the last power rankings we looked to. So from this morning with foul territory, Ken Rosenthal had this to say about an injury, an elbow injury Juan Soto's dealing with.
Not hearing anything yet. And he was getting imaging, I believe, early this afternoon. After that, we'll know. I know Yankee fans are freaking out because this is the same kind of thing, same verbiage you heard last year with Dominguez before he had Tommy John. Obviously, there's no sense speculating right now until we know a little bit more, and I would imagine we'll know more today.
Yeah, well, turns out it's not really that serious. It certainly wouldn't sound like it. Not only did Boone say that Juan Soto will avoid an IL stint, he also could be available in this game. He's not in the lineup for the Yankees tonight, could be available as an emergency option, expected to be available against the Dodgers. Yanks start with some serious injury news and have seemed to avoid it.
Well, that escalated quickly.
It sure did, and de-escalated quite rapidly.
He was like, look, hey, the language is Tommy John. We don't want to speculate, though. Hey, actually, he's good.
Cool. He can play tonight.
He'll be good to go.
He might be dead, but we could see him later.
And you know what? Even though I'm not a Yankees fan, never been, won't support them, I am a Juan Soto fan. I mean, this dude is 24, 25 years old, been in the game 7 years already. He is one of a kind. So I'm glad he's all right. But yeah, that was funny. We were getting ready to talk about this, and then you're like, hold on,
and then I was
pump the
like,
brakes.
just kidding. There's a little press conference that's happening, and Aaron Boone's giving updates, and everything's fine.
It's all good.
So never mind.
Dodged a
But
bullet.
I do have some other sound. One of everyone's favorite players, Nick Castellanos. He talked about seeing the scenes in London. I don't think he's joking about what he's about to say.
Me and Jess, we walked around for like 5 hours or so, just saw like all the local markets they have. I like to see how like normal people live on the daily. That stuff is fun for me. So to be able to go through like their markets and the way they get food and stuff. And I got to see like kids come out, all of them dressed like in their Hogwarts uniforms. Hey, private school kids wear ties here.
I know.
Jackets and ties.
I commented that as I saw.
Wow. Now I pay $30,000 a year for a private school. All we get is an untucked collared shirt and khaki pants.
That's right.
No, my gut tells me he's kidding, but I like to think he's serious. That's how I'm choosing to interpret it. I don't think he is. He's not, but I like to think he is.
Yeah, I like to think that too.
He's walking around in their Hogwarts uniforms.
Hogwarts. Where's the convention, guys?
Yeah, exactly. Where are you going? Which leads me to my question. Nick may or may not have been joking. It went viral because people were like, yo, is he serious? What is the dumbest, often on accident thing you have said or have heard someone say where you were like, I don't think they meant to say that?
I've said some dumb things in my day, believe it or not. Stacey?
I certainly don't.
My buddy said something. It was so dumb. So we're in the middle of a game. I forget who we're playing. I think we're playing San Diego State. And San Diego State has the football, and it's like 2nd and 5 or something like that. And he looks at me. He goes, hey, they're either going to run it or pass it. I go, what else are they going to do? Like, what? They're not going to punt it on 2nd down, dog. Like, what are you doing? I looked at him. I go, get away from me, dude. Get away from me. What are you talking about? He was so
figured
serious.
It out. No, listen, I think at this point, they're going to do one of two things. They're going to run it or pass it. I don't know what yet, but I've at least figured that part out.
I got a gut feeling.
I don't think they're going to kneel it out.
I looked at him, man. I go, I'm done talking to you for the rest of the game, dog.
This is like when I did the Home Depot thing. That was an example of like me being completely serious in that moment. And I just didn't know. Like you just kind of talk without thinking it through is what you do.
It's on autopilot.
You're not thinking about it.
Just getting it out.
Yeah. Curtis, do you have one of like the dumbest thing you've said or have heard someone say and you were like, I don't think they would have said that if they would have taken a couple seconds? It's either going to run or pass.
The only thing that comes to mind is my wife and I were driving around one time and there was a road that was, it was like Canary Street. I don't know where this was. But she goes, Cannery. What's cannery? And I was like, it's canary.
I can't even hate on Brenna because I was complaining once about the sheer number of ingredients in a salad dressing. And I was reading them off to my sister on the back of a Kraft Italian salad dressing bottle. And I go, and what even are on ions?
Onions?
Because it was hyphenated. It was hyphenated.
Oh, there's another one. Dave Wyman, who I love dearly. Back when he was hosting Hawks Live, we were at, this is back when he was at the Pearl, which is now Legion in Bellevue Square. And you have to say, part of the, one of the reads was like, you had to say what you had for dinner that night. And Dave had to read it off a cue card. And he just said, salmon.
No.
He's like, wait a minute. That says salmon. He corrected himself. And he's like, idiot.
Oh, man.
I like the idea of Dave reading. Who wrote this?
Yeah.
What an idiot. Salmon.
I had this read for pre and post for the Hawks, and I couldn't get through it out laughing because I had to say Bavarian meats like 3 times, and I'm looking
Bavarian.
at our producer Nasa Chobe, and he's rolling. Because I read it initially, I go, I really have to say this. He goes, yeah, man, they paid for it. You got to say that.
Curtis, do you have the cut? Are we allowed to play it on air of the crimson and gray?
Oh man,
can we play that?
Yeah, we can play that. I gotta find it.
I mean, it's not like it's bad.
What is it? I was here for that.
This was
before your time.
I think this was with Jake. Curtis and Jake used to constantly, anytime I would mess up on air, like one time throwing to NFL headlines or during this crimson and gray game read, they would start dying, like laughing, and then Curtis would clip it.
Oh, I can imagine what you said.
What you're imagining.
Oh, man.
What you're imagining.
I need that in my life.
Is what
Seahawks pre- and post-game analyst Michael Bumpus is going to be joining us next. He's going to be on the call of Wazoo's Crimson and Gray spring game for the Pac-12 network.
It's inclusive.
It is.
It's inclusive.
It's Pride
Month. I want everyone to feel welcome.
Yeah, it is Pride Month.
And I initially kept going right through it.
Yeah, you put your head down and went.
And then I just was like, you know what? I would like to issue a correction.
Yeah. That's not what I meant to say.
Something else.
Oh, man.
All right, you guys, get your questions in for What I Need to Know, brought to you by Cookies Country Chicken, 866-979-3776. Any question you have, text it now to the Mac and Jack's text line. Again, that number, 866-979-3776.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Brian Wu. Man, he's looked good. When's it going to stop? Hopefully never.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
In Mariners history, lowest ERA over the first 6 starts of a season, 1.07. I always think about our little game that we play. Who should be the ace? Look at the numbers right now. If this continues, I don't know how many he would have to stack up here. Would it be 8 or 9 or 10 when you go, this guy's the ace? It's unbelievable.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Father's Day is Sunday, June 16th. Visit Shane Company for a great gift for Dad that will put a smile on his face. We have the largest selection of fine jewelry in every price range. From on-trend silver and gold chain necklaces in a range of styles to classic signet rings, every piece is expertly crafted and backed by our free lifetime warranty. Stop by our store or go to shaneco.com and we'll help you find the perfect gift for Dad. A Father's Day surprise he'll cherish forever. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
These chicken tacos, was the chicken humanely put down? We pet him until he died.
George Lopez in the All Right Tour. Friday, June 14th, Tacoma's Pantages Theater. Tickets are on sale now at TacomaCityTheaters.org.
It's Cookies Country Chicken Dinner Fry Time Reminder. Need a hot wing and a cold drink? You'll find it in Pioneer Square or Ballard at Cookies. That's real good chicken. And tell them,
make it spicy.
Fresh fried chicken any way you like it at Cookies. CookiesCountryChicken.com.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and if you're looking for a fun night out, well, you know Snoqualmie Casino is just the place to go. Have some fun and unwind. Fall's Buffet is back open. They're serving up all your favorites. You can enjoy prime rib daily, plus fresh pasta, made-to-order stir-fry, and noodles, and pizzas, and salad bar, and dessert bar. They got the pies made every day. And then Vista Prime has amazing happy hour menus, which start at 4 o'clock, and those breathtaking views of the Snoqualmie Valley and Mount Si. You know it's Seattle's closest, only 30 minutes from downtown. It is Snoqualmie Casino.
Hey, it's Bob Stelton here for Johnson Fitness and Wellness, the home of fitness. Now, I've got a chronically sore back, and thankfully, I've got a massage chair because sometimes it's the only thing that helps. Johnson Fitness and Wellness has the largest selection of massage chairs in the state. Right now, mention Seattle Sports in-store and get a free Kidda percussion massager with the purchase of any Matrix Fitness equipment or massage chair. That's over $100 value, so mention Seattle Sports. Johnson Fitness and Wellness, Bellevue, Linwood, and Tacoma, or online at johnsonfitness.com.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
I have a handful of stories that really affected me personally in my career and how I handle employees. Lee Johnson, coming out of his office as a customer, asked me where the service department is. I was like, yeah, go to the end of the hall, go up the stairs, go across the breezeway, open a door, go to the left. You want Chevy, go to the right. You want Mazda? Because I didn't even have enough time to say, hey, what kind of car do you have? Here comes Lee, and it's like, oh, ma'am, come with me. Let me show you. And then have him come back and not dress me down. Is just almost like with that fatherly disappointment of like, that's not how we take care of people. I mean, the right way is to walk her down to the stairs, walk her up the stairs, open the door for her, go over, across the way, open up that door, introduce her to somebody. So she's comfortable, she's made it to the right place, and that we value the business. What you did was you made it seem like she was an inconvenience to you. Customers are the purpose of our day.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Ready for some summer hoops? Register your team for the Everett 3-on-3 tournament July 13th and 14th, presented by Boeing. 4 players to a team, 2 days of exciting action, one incredible tournament. Players of all ages and abilities are encouraged to come out and play. Get your team registered today. Go to Everett3on3.net to sign up your team. That's Everett3on3.net. A special thank you to event sponsors Amazon, City of Everett, Snohomish County TPA, McLean Insurance, and Scott Dahl Real Estate.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in to What I Need to Know, brought to you by Cookies Country Chicken. 866-979-3776. Here we go. What I Need to Know. This one on the Mariners. Since some of the players we spent all this time and money on in the offseason to get the best team possible haven't panned out, what makes anyone think trading for somebody at the deadline is going to be any different?
Negative Nancy here. I need a positive Patty.
I need an upbeat.
Upshaw.
You name
Urkel.
Upbeat Urkel. Yeah, I mean, it's all a gamble. It's all a risk. Didn't we just talk about this for like 15 minutes earlier on the show? It's a risk. Roll the dice. Let's get better.
Yeah.
Or not. I guess we shouldn't get better is what this person's saying.
Look, if you want to point to the past as predicting things with the future, they've made trade deadline acquisitions, Luis Castillo being the biggest, that did work out. So, I mean, shoot. Like, it's... I would always think that when people would point to the Seattle Seahawks when they take really big swings, Percy Harvin, Jimmy Graham, Jamal Adams, people were like, oh, it didn't work out. Man, they've made a hell of a run of midseason acquisitions. Carlos Dunlap, Dwayne Brown, Quandre Diggs. Like, they've made good trades, too. This is a different team, obviously, but...
My ADHD just kicked in.
Yeah.
I just remember something someone...
I want to know.
Stupid.
Yes.
I mean, something stupid someone said.
Okay.
We're sitting at dinner. It's about 20 of us. So everyone has their girl. It's one of those dinner. And one of the ladies go, don't worry, Gratitude is included. And me and my wife are looking at each other like, no one else heard this? We're in tears. Gratitude is included.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. So now me and my wife, we just call it Gratitude.
I would always do that. What's that tweet of like, Curtis, you might know this offhand, the Grink?
Oh, yeah. Where it's like, oh, man, I just survived a plane crash. Like, you're never going to believe this story. And then it cuts to friend who remembers that one time you referred to the Grinch as the Grink. Was the Grink there?
Yeah, that's that thing of like you say or do one thing years ago and your friends and family will constantly, like if that was you, like people would be like, oh, did you leave Gratitude?
Yes, Gratitude.
All right, 866-979-3776. If you see Amazon pull up, do you meet them outside or let them do their thing?
Do your thing, player. I will pull up next to you, look you in the eye, say hello, walk in my door.
Correct.
And you can just go ahead and sit that thing down.
And it's not like a disrespect thing. It is purely, I think, a generational thing. It is, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm not in a hurry to get my stuff. I go COVID rules. I go like, I do not answer my door. If the doorbell rings, I just freeze. I freeze and I don't know what to do and
It's
I
like
panic.
You're 12 and you're home alone.
Yeah, I just who would possibly be here? Like what? Why would you possibly not text or call me? Why are you ringing my doorbell like a psycho?
One thing I make sure to do whenever I get an Amazon delivery, I don't know, do you guys have Alexa devices? If you do,
Yes.
you can tell your Alexa, thank my driver, and it tips your driver.
Oh,
Really? Yeah.
No,
I
okay.
always make sure to do that.
Yeah. What if I want to tell my driver just throw it in the yard and leave
Alexa,
quickly?
tell my driver to
Tell my
beat
driver
it.
to get out of here. What I need to know. When the Mariners win the World Series, should I spend my winnings on a vacation to Mexico or Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Mexico.
I'd go Hawaii.
You're going down to Mexico, man.
I mean,
Unless
Mexico,
you're going like to Cancun or something like that.
like Cabo, like basically the whole thing is.
Yeah.
Let's see what I need to know. Someone said, "Who said they can smell water in the blood again?"
This guy.
Yeah, I can't
And I
believe-
can.
Yeah.
I really can.
Let's see what I need to know. Is the bump will help you get from Curtis and Stacy golf camp, whatever. Oh, I think they're trying to do the bump will help you golf better than Curtis and Stacy Camp LLC.
Nah, not now. I will not help you. I will hurt you.
We've actually got our own golf camp,
Right.
which is the Curtis and Stacy make you get rid of the golf yips faster than bump camp LLC.
Yeah.
And basically, we just take the
A lot of
same approach.
hypnotherapy.
A lot of hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
We do a lot of that. We do a lot of supplements, no reason whatsoever. But all of our campers are on Ozempic.
Yeah. Try this shake. It's great.
Yeah. it's
Don't
just-
ask what's in it.
Don't ask any questions. Just take what we give you, including our advice. Let's see what I need to know in regards to the Mariners' home games. Is it possible for me to learn how to perform CPR on myself? I think they're
No.
joking about how close those games are and how you pointed out, Curtis, the road versus home record being kind of interesting.
Yeah, their home record, they're like 667 win percentage. I think they're like 21-11 at home, and then on the road, I think they're right at 500. So road games a lot tougher than home games this season.
This person said, "Bump, I'm laughing so hard. I'm going to be calling it Gratitude now."
Gratitude.
I'm also thinking of like Gratitude as like an offshoot Temu brand Ratatouille. Like he's back
Exactly.
there. So your food tonight is actually being made in-house by our tiny chef, Gratitude.
Gratitude.
It's a
Does a
mouse.
great
It was
job.
at an Italian restaurant too.
No one else laughed?
I was over their head, I guess. It was this.
If no one
Looking
else
at
laughed,
Jen.
I would wonder if I had it wrong. I'd be like, is this
Nah.
just me?
Heck no.
Oh my God.
We were dying.
What I need to know. What recently popular trend has officially died?
You know what I found out? That was it Gen Z? Is that the newest one? If they see you wearing ankle socks, they know you're a millennial.
That's rude.
Yeah, that's
They
all
need
I
to
got
stop-
is ankle
They need to
socks.
stop calling me out on my mom. But here, I'm tricking them because I don't have ankle socks. I'm following the trends of my Gen Z kings and queens. So I also saw someone posted that one of the top responses to a Reddit thread of Gen Zers on how they can tell someone's a millennial is that they carry a wallet. Yes.
I carry a wallet.
Because I think it is a very millennial thought, because we all had boomer parents. It's a very millennial thought to think that you need physical copies of things. But also, what happens if your phone dies?
Oh,
what
so,
happens if,
so
if
people
your phone
don't carry their license? Is it all digital now? You can't do that in the state of Washington. I tried.
There are a couple states where you can add your license to your digital wallet, but not in
here.
Washington.
Yeah, I've tried it. Don't work.
Oh my God, I can't read this on air, but I will read it to you during the break. 425, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Crab quiche.
It's a mispronunciation of crab quiche.
Oh, snaps.
Let's see. Joel in Tacoma wants to know if it's embarrassing for a man to wear a purse.
Look,
you, Joel.
it ain't for me. It ain't for me. Some guys wear it, and I guess it works for them, but not for me.
They call it like a cross-body bag now.
Yeah.
It's not a man purse anymore.
What I need to know, any warm-up tips before 2 rounds at Gold Mountain tomorrow, starting at 7:30 a.m. Golf is too early for me.
It's beautiful when it's that early.
It's just, what are you doing, farming? Like, why are you up so early? Like, I don't know. Why do you need to golf so early?
Warm-up tips, go straight to the bar, my friend. Get that loose juice.
At 7:30?
At that hour of the day?
Heck yeah, Bloody Mary, what? Let's get it.
I mean, I guess that is true. What's flip side? What is the latest in the day it's acceptable to drink a mimosa or Bloody Mary?
You can't not past
like
2 o'clock.
11
You know
a.m.
how weird, you know how insane you look going to a bar at night, ordering a Bloody Mary? You look like a crazy person.
But then there becomes a time in the night, let's say 2, 3 a.m., where if you do order a Bloody Mary, then it's like, I'm just prepping for breakfast.
I'm prepping.
What I need to know?
No pregame.
Why doesn't baseball have tailgating?
Because they didn't do it in the 1800s.
Yeah, also that's a lot of tailgating. That's basically having dinner every night.
Tailgating every day.
Yeah, we just have dinner outside the Mariners game. You know what I'll say, though, and I don't want to give them props for this. I don't like that I'm doing it, but when I went to that Red Sox game, me and Derek and then 2 of his friends, every bar was packed, and the bars are like attached to the stadium. There's just more around the stadium than is around T-Mobile.
I don't like how fondly you be talking
like
about the East Coast.
I don't like it either. I don't like who I am. I don't like who I've become. I don't like it, but I can't help it. I can't help it. All right, you guys, that'll do it for us today. For Michael Bumpus, Curtis Rogers, Matt Nelson, I'm Stacey Ross. Don't go anywhere. Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Brian Wu, man, he's looked good. When's it going to stop? Hopefully never.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
In Mariners history, lowest ERA over the first 6 starts of a season, 1.07. I always think about our little game that we play. Who should be the ace? Look at the numbers right now. If this continues, I don't know how many he would have to stack up here. Would it be 8 or 9 or 10 when you go, this guy's the ace? It's unbelievable.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Call today for a free in-home estimate. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Everyone loves a road trip. Start yours at the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales Event. Hey, Brock Hewitt here, and this month, the Harnish Auto Family is offering a chance to win a $500 road trip package from Sportco and Outdoor Emporium. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win. No purchase necessary. Just stop by your favorite dealership, Volkswagen of Puyallup, Subaru of Puyallup, Kia of Everett, Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup, or Chevrolet of Everett, and take a test drive for your chance to win. HarnishAutoFamily.com. People matter. See dealership for details.
Hey everybody, Bob Stelton here. I recently met with Anthony, the owner of Asset Roofing, to talk about a metal roof which can last twice as long as ordinary shingles. Asset Roofing is seeing a huge push in the market for metal roofing. They create each metal roof at their headquarters, custom to each job, and that allows them to offer metal roofs with up to a 30% discount over their competitors. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Hey, sports fans, ready to take your fitness game to the next level? At Emerald City Athletics, they're on your team. Score big this June with the unbeatable summer sale on now. Get 20% off all memberships and join with 0 enrollment fees. There's never been a better time to get started at Seattle's favorite local gym, Emerald City Athletics. Whether you're looking to build strength, increase endurance, or just stay in the game, their team of fitness pros will come up with the perfect game plan